Life on Earth is a marvel, an astonishing phenomenon that has puzzled scientists for centuries. From the tiniest bacteria to the largest mammals, the intricate web of life has flourished across diverse environments, from the deepest oceans to the highest mountains. But the question remains, how did it all begin? This enigma, how life started, has been the subject of human curiosity and scientific inquiry for millennia. In a universe filled with billions of planets, how did one small blue planet come to harbor life as we know it? Scientists have long believed that life originated on Earth through a process of chemical evolution. It's a plausible theory, born out of a desire to explain how the simplest molecules gradually evolved into complex living systems. According to this theory, Earth was a barren rock in the early days of our solar system. But as the planet cooled and the conditions became right, a series of chemical reactions triggered the birth of life. The raw ingredients for life, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, were present in the planet's early atmosphere. As lightning struck, energy from the sun interacted with these basic molecules, forming the building blocks of life: amino acids, nucleotides, and proteins. Over millions of years, these building blocks combined to form simple self-replicating systems, cells. But as simple as this narrative may sound, it raises profound questions. If life arose from these basic ingredients, why did it take so long? How did simple molecules, under the harsh conditions of early Earth, suddenly begin to assemble into complex systems capable of self-replication? Was this process random, or was it guided by forces we don't yet understand? And perhaps the most pressing question, what if this theory is wrong? What if life didn't begin here at all? To answer these questions, we must first explore the environment of early Earth, a time when the planet was a volatile and inhospitable place. Earth formed about 4.5 billion years ago, at a time when the young solar system was still chaotic. The planet was a molten mass, constantly bombarded by asteroids and comets. Its surface temperature was so high that any water present would have evaporated instantly. For the first few hundred million years, Earth was a seething cauldron, hostile to life in any form. As the planet slowly began to cool, it entered a period known as the Hadean Eon, characterized by violent volcanic activity and frequent collisions with asteroids. Earth's early atmosphere, if it existed at all, was thick with gases like methane, carbon dioxide, and ammonia, far from the breathable oxygen-rich air we have today. The conditions were inhospitable to any form of life that we would recognize. Yet, remarkably, it was during this time, amid such chaos and destruction, that life would eventually emerge. By 3 billion years ago, evidence suggests that microbial life began to appear. The oldest known fossils, found in ancient rocks in Western Australia, are microbial in nature. These fossils, tiny and microscopic, represent some of the earliest forms of life to have existed on Earth. This is an astonishing fact because it suggests that life emerged almost immediately after the planet cooled enough to support liquid water. In other words, it took just a few hundred million years for the planet to transition from a barren, hostile landscape to one teeming with life. This rapid emergence of life is not what we might expect. Charles Darwin, the father of modern evolutionary theory, struggled with this very problem. He famously called the sudden appearance of life in Earth's early history the warm little pond problem. Darwin proposed that life must have begun in some primordial soup, a warm pond perhaps, where simple molecules could combine and evolve over time. However, the issue remained. The conditions on early Earth were far from ideal for such a process. There was no evidence of a slow, gradual emergence of life in the way Darwin had envisioned. Instead, life seemed to appear almost instantaneously, leaving little room for the long periods of gradual change that Darwin's theory required. In fact, the process by which life emerged from the chaos of early Earth appears so improbable that it defies basic principles of probability. Take, for instance, the simplest living organism we know of, a bacterium. A single bacterium, such as Escherichia coli, contains about 4 million molecules that work in concert to keep the cell alive and functioning. These molecules include DNA, RNA, proteins, and a variety of enzymes. Each molecule is crucial for the survival of the cell. Remove any one of these molecules, and the bacterium cannot survive. The complexity of even the simplest life form is staggering. For life to have emerged from the basic molecules present on early Earth, these molecules would have had to come together in a precise and coordinated manner, an almost impossible feat given the random nature of chemical reactions. Moreover, scientists have attempted to replicate the conditions of early Earth in laboratories, hoping to recreate the process by which life originated. In one famous experiment conducted by Stanley Miller in 1953, researchers simulated the early Earth atmosphere by mixing methane, ammonia, and hydrogen, and then applying electrical sparks to simulate lightning. The result was the formation of amino acids, the building blocks of proteins. While this experiment was groundbreaking, it only produced the basic building blocks of life, not actual living organisms. More recent experiments have continued to attempt this process, but they have yet to produce anything approaching the complexity of even the simplest cells. In fact, after decades of research, the gap between chemistry and biology remains one of the greatest mysteries in science. These difficulties in recreating life in the lab have led many scientists to reconsider the traditional theories of life's origins. Perhaps life did not emerge on Earth at all. Perhaps life did not begin from scratch, but was brought here from elsewhere in the cosmos. This is the central premise of the Panspermia hypothesis, which proposes that life on Earth, and perhaps life throughout the universe, was seeded by extraterrestrial sources. According to this theory, life's building blocks, or even entire organisms, could have arrived on comets, asteroids, or other space debris, spreading life across the galaxy. Earth may not be the birthplace of life, but merely one of many places where life has taken root. The Panspermia hypothesis is not a new idea. It dates back to the ancient Greeks, who speculated that life on Earth could have originated from the stars. In the 19th century, the famous scientist and biologist Hermann von Helmholtz suggested that life might have come to Earth from distant planets or even other galaxies. But it wasn't until the 20th century, with the advent of space exploration, that the idea gained serious scientific attention. The discovery of amino acids and other organic compounds in meteorites and comets has provided evidence that life's building blocks may indeed be widespread throughout the universe. If life's components can travel across space, then it's conceivable that life itself could spread from one planet to another, like seeds drifting on the cosmic winds. One of the strongest pieces of evidence for this theory comes from the discovery of organic molecules in space. In the past few decades, astronomers have detected complex organic compounds in the interstellar clouds that fill the space between stars. The European Space Agency's Herschel Space Observatory has identified a wide range of molecules, including amino acids and sugars, in the dense clouds of gas and dust that swirl around young stars. These findings suggest that the building blocks of life are not just rare accidents, but common across the universe. Organic compounds are everywhere, drifting through space, carried by comets and asteroids, waiting for the right conditions to take root on planets like Earth. Additionally, NASA's recent exploration of comets and asteroids has provided further support for the idea that life's building blocks are scattered throughout the cosmos. In 2014, the European Space Agency's Rosetta mission, which sent a probe to Comet 67P Churyumov-Gerasimenko, found evidence of complex organic molecules on the comet's surface. These molecules, including glycine, the simplest amino acid, suggest that the essential ingredients for life are not unique to Earth but are abundant throughout the solar system. Similar findings have been made in other meteorites that have fallen to Earth, including the famous Murchison meteorite, which contained over 70 amino acids, many of which are not found naturally on Earth. These discoveries have led some scientists to conclude that the Earth and perhaps the entire solar system may have been seeded by extraterrestrial material. As comets and asteroids collided with Earth in its early history, they may have delivered organic compounds that kick-started the process of life's emergence. Over billions of years, life on Earth may have evolved from these cosmic seeds, growing and adapting to the planet's changing environment. For centuries, scientists and philosophers have pondered the origins of life. How did life begin on Earth? Was it a miraculous accident, or is there a deeper explanation? The prevailing theory for much of modern science has been that life originated here, on our own planet, through a process of chemical evolution. Simple organic molecules combined and, over eons, formed the first self-replicating cells. However, this theory, while plausible, is becoming increasingly difficult to defend when faced with the evidence that life might not have started on Earth at all. Instead, a growing number of scientists are considering a more radical possibility, that life did not originate here, but instead was seeded on Earth from space. This idea, known as the Panspermia hypothesis, suggests that life, or at least the building blocks of life, may have arrived on Earth from distant planets, moons, or even other star systems. The basic premise is simple. Life may not be an accident of this planet's chemistry, but instead a cosmic inheritance distributed across the galaxy by the forces of the universe itself. The early origins of panspermia. Theory. The concept of panspermia is far from new. In fact, it dates back to the ancient Greeks. The philosopher Anaximander, circa 46 BCE, proposed that life on Earth came from the stars, hinting at the idea that living organisms could have originated elsewhere and traveled across the cosmos to take root on Earth. But it wasn't until the 19th century that the theory was taken seriously in the scientific community. In 1871, the renowned scientist Sir Richard Owen posited that the seeds of life may have been brought to Earth from space. He suggested that extraterrestrial matter could have carried microscopic life forms, which eventually evolved into the diverse array of life we see today. The idea of life being carried across space by comets or meteors was further popularized by Svante Arrhenius, a Swedish scientist in the early 20th century. In 1903, Arrhenius proposed that life could survive space travel through the vacuum of space and that bacteria could hitch rides on comets, arriving on planets like Earth to begin the process of evolution. While these early ideas sparked the imagination, the scientific evidence to support them was lacking. Yet, in recent decades, advances in technology and space exploration have provided compelling new evidence that suggests that the seeds of life may indeed be cosmic in origin. What is panspermia? The term panspermia comes from the Greek words pan, meaning all, and sperma, meaning seed. The hypothesis suggests that life exists throughout the universe, distributed by space dust, meteoroids, asteroids, comets, or potentially by spacecraft in the distant past. Essentially, it proposes that life did not start on Earth but was brought here by cosmic forces, potentially millions or billions of years ago. There are several variations of the panspermia hypothesis, each with its own nuances and implications. 1. Radiation. Panspermia. This version suggests that microscopic life forms could be propelled through space by radiation pressure from stars. Tiny particles of life, such as bacteria, could be ejected from their home planets by solar radiation and travel across vast distances in space, eventually reaching new planets like Earth. 2. Direct panspermia. This more controversial theory suggests that advanced extraterrestrial civilizations may have intentionally seeded life on Earth. According to this idea, ancient civilizations might have sent microbial life on purpose, perhaps to ensure the continuation of intelligent life across the galaxy. 3. Lithopanspermia. This variation proposes that life is spread through space via meteoroids, comets, and asteroids. The idea is that life could hitch a ride on these cosmic objects, enduring the harsh conditions of space, and eventually land on a planet where it could flourish. This theory does not require advanced civilizations. Rather, it suggests that natural processes could be responsible for life's interstellar travel. Regardless of the specific version, the common thread is that life, or at least its essential building blocks, are widespread throughout the universe and can travel from one planet to another, planting the seeds for life to grow and evolve. The evidence for panspermia. In the past, the idea of life being spread through space was purely speculative, with little empirical evidence to support it. However, recent discoveries have added significant weight to the theory, with several lines of evidence suggesting that life's building blocks, or even life itself, might have been transported across space. 1. Organic compounds in meteorites and comets. One of the strongest pieces of evidence for the panspermia hypothesis comes from the discovery of complex organic molecules in meteorites and comets. For decades, scientists have been studying meteorites that have fallen to Earth. These space rocks, some of which are billions of years old, contain organic molecules such as amino acids, sugars, and even nucleotides, the fundamental building blocks of life. In 1969, the Murchison meteorite, which fell in Australia, was found to contain over 70 different amino acids. These molecules are vital to the formation of proteins, the molecular machines that drive life processes. What makes the Murchison meteorite particularly interesting is that some of the amino acids it contains are not found naturally on Earth. The chemical signatures of these amino acids indicate that they formed in deep space, far from the influence of Earth's environment. Similarly, Comet 67P Churyumov-Gerasimenko, visited by the European Space Agency's Rosetta mission in 2014, revealed that the comet contained organic molecules, including glycine, the simplest amino acid. The Rosetta spacecraft also detected other organic molecules, such as phosphorus-bearing molecules, which are essential for DNA and RNA. These findings suggest that the raw materials necessary for life are widespread across the solar system and perhaps even throughout the galaxy. 2. Interstellar dust and organic chemistry. Beyond meteorites and comets, scientists have also detected organic molecules in the dust between stars. The European Space Agency's Herschel Space Observatory has found evidence of complex organic compounds in molecular clouds, vast cold regions of space filled with gas and dust. These clouds are thought to be the birthplace of new stars and planetary systems. But within these clouds, astronomers have also detected amino acids, alcohols, and other organic molecules. These discoveries support the idea that the building blocks of life are not unique to Earth but are widespread throughout the universe. Just as organic molecules can form in the icy depths of space, they may also be able to travel across vast distances, hitching rides on comets, asteroids, and meteors, eventually reaching planets like Earth, where they can begin the process of evolution. 3. The survival of microorganisms in space. Perhaps the most astounding evidence for the panspermia hypothesis comes from experiments in space. In 2007, scientists aboard the International Space Station exposed bacteria to the vacuum of space. The bacteria, including Bacillus subtilis, were subjected to harsh conditions: no oxygen, no food, extreme temperatures, and intense radiation. Surprisingly, many of the bacteria survived the journey, continuing to grow and reproduce once they returned to Earth. Other organisms, such as tardigrades, often called water bears, have also been shown to survive in space. These microscopic animals can endure extreme conditions, including freezing, boiling, and the vacuum of space. Tardigrades are capable of entering a state called cryptobiosis, where they effectively shut down their metabolism, allowing them to survive in conditions that would kill most life forms. When exposed to space for 10 days, some tardigrades were able to survive and even reproduce once back on Earth. These experiments suggest that life, or at least microorganisms, may be able to survive the journey across space, traveling from one planet to another. If life can survive in space, then it stands to reason that it could have been transported to Earth or to other planets in the distant past. 4. The potential for Mars to seed. Life on Earth-Mars, our planetary neighbor, is another key piece of the panspermia puzzle. For decades, scientists have been searching for signs of past or present life on Mars. The discovery of ancient riverbeds and the presence of water in Mars's distant past suggests that the red planet may have once been habitable. In fact, recent missions have uncovered evidence of organic molecules in Martian soil, organic molecules similar to those found in meteorites that have fallen to Earth. If life ever existed on Mars, it is possible that it could have traveled from Mars to Earth, Mars and Earth are not isolated from each other. They are part of a cosmic system where rocks and debris regularly exchange material between the planets. When asteroids or comets strike Mars, they can launch pieces of Mars's surface into space, some of which may eventually land on Earth. This process, known as lithopanspermia, could have allowed Mars to seed life on Earth or vice versa. 5. The growing possibility of life beyond Earth. In addition to Mars, other moons in our solar system, such as Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, Enceladus, a moon of Saturn, and Titan, another moon of Saturn, have been considered potential places for life to exist. Europa, for example, is thought to have a subsurface ocean beneath its icy crust. If life exists there, it could be similar to the extremophiles that thrive on Earth in extreme environments, such as hydrothermal vents in the deep ocean. These moons are also prime candidates for the panspermia hypothesis. If microbial life exists on these worlds, it could be traveling between moons and planets within our solar system, carried by meteoroids, comets, or other debris. The implications of panspermia. The implications of the panspermia hypothesis are far-reaching. If life truly spread across the universe like seeds on the wind, it challenges our understanding of life's origins. Instead of life being an accident that happened here on Earth, it would be a cosmic process, one that is as inevitable as the formation of stars and planets. The idea that life is common in the universe, that it is spread from one world to another, has profound consequences for how we think about life beyond Earth. If the panspermia hypothesis is correct, we may not be alone in the universe. Life could be abundant across the galaxy, and Earth could be just one of many planets where life has taken root. Perhaps, over time, intelligent civilizations have risen on other worlds, just as they have here on Earth. And perhaps some of these civilizations intentionally seeded life on Earth, ensuring that intelligence would continue to thrive in the cosmos. In 1969, a remarkable event took place in the Australian outback. A meteorite, now known as the Murchison meteorite, struck the Earth with an impact that would forever change the way scientists think about the origins of life. This meteorite, an ancient rock from space, contained something utterly extraordinary, an array of organic compounds that challenged the scientific community's understanding of life's origins. While meteorites and asteroids are commonly thought to be composed of simple minerals and metals, the Murchison meteorite was different. Inside it, scientists discovered over 70 types of amino acids, the building blocks of proteins, molecules essential for life. Even more astonishing, many of the amino acids found in the Murchison meteorite were not ones that are naturally produced on Earth. These unique compounds seem to have originated somewhere beyond our planet, possibly formed in the cold, vast reaches of space. The discovery of amino acids in the Murchison meteorite was not just a minor scientific curiosity, it was a revelation. For years, scientists had speculated that life's essential components might exist beyond Earth, but this was the first hard evidence that such molecules were widespread across the universe. The implications were staggering. Could life on Earth have been seeded from space? Could these amino acids, which were now confirmed to exist in deep space, have traveled across the cosmos carried by comets, asteroids, or meteors to eventually take root on a fertile planet like Earth? The Murchison meteorite, a key to life's origins. The Murchison meteorite was not the first meteorite to be found with organic compounds, but it was certainly the most significant. When it landed in the small town of Murchison in Australia, researchers quickly began to study the rock in great detail. Inside it, they found a wide array of molecules that are critical to life. The amino acids found in the meteorite were strikingly similar to those that are found in living organisms. Amino acids, as we know, are the fundamental building blocks of proteins. They form the structures and machinery that allow cells to function. In fact, proteins make up a large part of the structures of all living organisms, from bacteria to humans. But the discovery didn't stop at amino acids. Researchers found a range of other organic molecules, including nucleic acid bases, the very building blocks of DNA and RNA. DNA and RNA are the two molecules that carry the genetic information necessary for all life on Earth. The finding of these molecules in the Murchison meteorite raised an extraordinary question. Could these organic molecules, so essential to life, have been spread across space, brought to Earth by meteors or comets, and eventually led to the emergence of life? The presence of amino acids and nucleic acid bases in the Murchison meteorite provides tantalizing evidence that life's basic building blocks may not have originated on Earth. Instead, they may have been deposited here, transported across the void of space, and arrived on our planet millions or even billions of years ago, long before Earth was ready to sustain complex life. This theory, known as Panspermia, proposes that life, or at least its essential components, is widespread throughout the cosmos, traveling from planet to planet, star to star, carried by comets, meteors, and space dust. The Murchison meteorite is more than just a fragment of rock from space. It is a time capsule containing clues to the fundamental processes that may have led to the origin of life. The amino acids in the meteorite are not just random chemicals, they are sophisticated molecular structures that form the foundation for life. The presence of these compounds suggests that the basic elements for life may be common across the universe, waiting to be activated when conditions are right. And if life's building blocks are common in the cosmos, then it stands to reason that life itself may also be common, spreading across planets, moons, and galaxies, carried by the very rocks and debris that form the universe. Amino acids in space, the building blocks of life. To fully appreciate the significance of the Murchison meteorite, it's important to understand the role that amino acids play in the formation of life. Amino acids are organic compounds that combine to form proteins, the workhorses of biological systems. Proteins perform a wide variety of essential functions in all living organisms, including enzymes that catalyze chemical reactions, antibodies that defend the body from pathogens, and structural proteins that help form tissues and organs. In fact, without proteins, life as we know it would not exist. The amino acids found in the Murchison meteorite were not the same as those commonly found on Earth. In fact, many of the amino acids in the meteorite do not appear to be produced by the natural processes we associate with life on our planet. This raises an important question. How did these amino acids, which are essential for life, end up in a rock that traveled across space? The answer may lie in the conditions that exist in deep space. In the cold vacuum of space, organic molecules like amino acids can form on dust grains and ice crystals, catalyzed by cosmic radiation and the energy from nearby stars. Interstellar clouds, where stars are born, may also be sites where complex organic molecules are created. In these clouds, atoms of carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen come together to form simple organic molecules, which may then combine to form more complex structures like amino acids. The fact that amino acids can form in the vacuum of space and that these molecules have been found in meteorites suggests that the building blocks of life are not a rare phenomenon, but rather they may be common across the universe. If these compounds can form naturally in space, it's not so far-fetched to imagine that they could travel between stars and planets, delivered to fertile worlds by comets and asteroids. Other meteorites and their role in the Panspermia hypothesis. The Murchison meteorite is not alone in its rich content of organic molecules. Other meteorites, including the Allende meteorite and the Murray meteorite, have also been found to contain amino acids and other organic compounds. The Allende meteorite, which fell in Mexico in 1969, contained nucleic acid bases, the building blocks of DNA and RNA, the very molecules that carry the genetic instructions for all life. The Murray meteorite, which landed in the United States, contained similar organic molecules. These discoveries provide compelling evidence that organic compounds, amino acids, nucleotides, and even lipids, the building blocks of cell membranes, are common in space. Taken together, these meteorites paint a picture of a universe where the building blocks of life are widespread and abundant. Whether by chance or design, these molecules are dispersed across the cosmos, carried by asteroids, comets, and meteors, and potentially landing on planets like Earth, where they could begin the process of life's evolution. The cosmic journey of life's building blocks. The discovery of these organic molecules in meteorites raises an exciting possibility that life on Earth, and perhaps life throughout the universe, was not the product of a singular localized event, but rather a cosmic process that spans the galaxy. If amino acids and nucleic acids can form in deep space, they can travel vast distances carried by comets, asteroids, and space dust. These microscopic travelers could have traveled from one star system to another, spreading the building blocks of life across the universe. In this scenario, Earth was not the birthplace of life, but rather one of many planets where life has taken root. Just as a seed is carried by the wind and lands in fertile soil, the building blocks of life could have traveled across space, landing on Earth when conditions were right. Over millions of years, these organic compounds would have interacted with one another, eventually leading to the formation of life. But the implications of this idea are even more profound. If life's building blocks are widespread across the cosmos, it follows that life itself could be common throughout the universe. Earth may not be the only planet where life exists. There may be countless other worlds, hidden in the farthest reaches of space, where life has taken root, planets with unique ecosystems, teeming with life forms vastly different from anything we know. Life, in all its forms, could be a universal phenomenon, not confined to Earth, but spread across the stars, waiting to be discovered. Conclusion: a new perspective on life's origins. The discovery of organic compounds in meteorites like the Murchison meteorite is a watershed moment in the study of life's origins. It provides strong evidence for the Panspermia hypothesis, which suggests that life on Earth may have been seeded from space. The amino acids and other organic molecules found in these meteorites support the idea that the building blocks of life are not unique to our planet, but are widespread across the universe. If life's essential components can form in space, then life itself may be a cosmic phenomenon, spreading from one world to another, carried by comets, asteroids, and meteors. As we continue to explore the cosmos, searching for signs of life on other planets and moons, the possibility that life exists elsewhere becomes more plausible. We may not be alone in the universe. Life, it seems, could be far more common than we ever imagined, and Earth may just be one of many worlds where it has taken root. The Murchison meteorite may have been a messenger, delivering the cosmic building blocks of life from the stars to our planet. But if life can travel across space, who knows what other secrets are waiting to be uncovered? The origin of life on Earth has been one of the greatest mysteries that scientists have grappled with for centuries. How did non-living chemicals transform into living organisms? In many ways, this question is at the heart of modern biology and chemistry. The prevailing theory for how life began on Earth is a concept called abiogenesis, which proposes that life arose from simple organic compounds through chemical processes. But despite decades of research, scientists have yet to solve this mystery. The more we understand about the complexity of life, the more difficult it becomes to explain how such complexity could have arisen through random chemical processes on a barren, hostile planet. Abiogenesis is based on the idea that life emerged from simple molecules, such as amino acids, nucleotides, and sugars, which then combined in a series of steps to form complex molecules like proteins, RNA, and DNA. The theory holds that these molecules eventually came together to form the first self-replicating organisms, marking the origin of life. But if life emerged on Earth, how did it happen so quickly? And how did it manage to create such intricate biological systems? Could it be that the conditions on Earth were just right for life to emerge spontaneously? Or, as some scientists are now beginning to believe, is it more likely that life didn't emerge here at all, but was rather delivered to Earth by external forces, possibly through cosmic seeding? The improbability of life's emergence. The timeline of life's emergence on Earth is nothing short of astonishing. Earth formed around 4.5 billion years ago, but for the first 800 million years, it was a chaotic, molten hellscape, too hot for any life to survive. There were no oceans, no atmosphere, and certainly no complex organic molecules. Yet, somehow, within just a few hundred million years, around 3.8 billion years ago, life appeared. This rapid emergence of life has puzzled scientists for generations. Scientists like Charles Darwin recognized the enormity of this problem, which he referred to as the warm little pond dilemma. Darwin himself struggled to explain how life could have emerged from a primordial soup. In his book, On the Origin of Species, he proposed that life began in a warm pond or shallow pool where simple molecules combined over time to form more complex structures. However, even Darwin recognized the difficulty of this idea. If natural selection, the driving force behind evolution, requires vast stretches of time, how could life have emerged so quickly after Earth's surface cooled? The problem becomes even more apparent when we examine the complexity of even the simplest living organisms. Take, for example, the bacterium Escherichia coli. A single bacterium contains approximately 4 million parts, all working in perfect harmony to carry out basic functions such as energy production, reproduction, and cellular maintenance. These 4 million molecules include DNA, RNA, proteins, enzymes, and cellular membranes, all working together in a delicate balance to keep the bacterium alive. To put it simply, even the simplest life form is extraordinarily complex. For this complexity to have arisen from a random combination of molecules, the odds would be staggeringly low. The probability of life emerging from random chemical reactions in early Earth's primordial soup is so infinitesimally small that it challenges the very foundations of probability theory. The complexity of even the most basic life form, an individual bacterium, suggests that life could not have arisen by chance alone. It seems far more likely that some external factor contributed to life's emergence on Earth. Could it be that life didn't begin here at all? Attempts to recreate life in the lab. In an attempt to answer this question, scientists have long attempted to replicate the conditions of early Earth in laboratories. Perhaps if they could recreate the conditions present on Earth when life first began, they could finally solve the riddle of life's origins. One of the most famous experiments designed to replicate these conditions was conducted by Stanley Miller in 1953. Miller mixed gases such as methane, ammonia, and hydrogen in a closed system, mimicking the conditions of Earth's early atmosphere. He then applied an electrical charge to simulate lightning. After running the experiment for a week, Miller found that the mixture had produced amino acids, the building blocks of proteins. This groundbreaking experiment seemed to support the idea that simple organic molecules could form from inorganic compounds under the right conditions. However, while the Miller-Urey experiment produced amino acids, it didn't get us any closer to the complex life forms we see today. The amino acids formed in the experiment were simple and lacked the intricate machinery needed to form a living cell. More recent experiments have produced similar results, amino acids, sugars, and other organic molecules, but nothing resembling the self-replicating systems that form the foundation of life. Researchers have yet to recreate the process by which these simple molecules assemble into complex living organisms. In fact, the gap between chemistry and biology remains as wide as ever. The randomness of chemical reactions and the complexity required to form even the simplest self-replicating systems are staggering. If life is the result of purely chemical processes, the odds of those processes leading to life's most complex machinery seem impossibly low. Even the simplest bacterial cell, with its DNA, proteins, enzymes, and membranes, is a highly complex molecular structure. How did such complexity arise from the chemical soup of early Earth, where the conditions were far from ideal? This paradox, the apparent impossibility of life emerging from a chaotic, primordial environment, is what has led some scientists to consider alternative explanations. Could it be that life was not a spontaneous accident on Earth, but instead was brought here from elsewhere in the universe? The Panspermia hypothesis. A radical alternative. The Panspermia hypothesis offers an alternative to the conventional theory of abiogenesis. Instead of life originating on Earth, Panspermia suggests that life, or at least its essential building blocks, came from space. This idea, though radical, has gained traction in recent years, particularly in light of new discoveries that suggest organic molecules are widespread across the universe. Panspermia proposes that life's building blocks, such as amino acids, sugars, and nucleotides, could have formed in space. These molecules could have then been carried to Earth on comets, asteroids, or meteoroids. Once on Earth, these compounds would interact with the planet's conditions, eventually leading to the formation of life. This theory is supported by recent discoveries in astronomy and space exploration. For example, NASA's Mars rover has detected organic compounds in Martian soil, suggesting that the building blocks of life may have once existed on Mars. Additionally, in 2014, the European Space Agency's Rosetta mission detected amino acids and other organic compounds on Comet 67P Churyumov-Gerasimenko. These findings raise the possibility that life's building blocks may be widespread throughout the solar system and beyond. Moreover, microbial life has been shown to survive in space. Experiments aboard the International Space Station have demonstrated that bacteria and other microorganisms can survive in the vacuum of space, enduring extreme temperatures and radiation. Some of these organisms were able to reproduce once they returned to Earth, suggesting that life, or at least its basic components, can endure the harsh conditions of space travel. This is one of the most compelling pieces of evidence supporting the idea that life could have originated elsewhere in the cosmos and been transported to Earth by comets or meteors. The role of extreme environments and the resilience of life. One of the central challenges to the theory of abiogenesis is the idea that life had to begin in a primordial soup, a warm, shallow pond where simple molecules could slowly combine to form complex structures. But the conditions on early Earth were anything but ideal. The planet was bombarded by asteroids and comets, and the atmosphere was filled with toxic gases. Early Earth was far too hostile to support the gradual formation of life. However, Earth today, we see life thriving in environments that were once thought to be inhospitable. Extremophiles, organisms that thrive in extreme conditions, have been discovered living in boiling hot springs, deep-sea hydrothermal vents, and even in the acidic environments of volcanoes. These organisms are capable of surviving in conditions that would kill most other forms of life. Their existence challenges the traditional notion of where life can arise and what conditions are necessary for life to begin. Could it be that life on Earth, or at least the building blocks of life, originated in one of these extreme environments and then traveled to Earth from another planet or moon? The discovery of extremophiles suggests that life is far more resilient and adaptable than previously thought. It is not inconceivable that life could survive in the vacuum of space and travel across vast distances, eventually taking root on a planet like Earth. The Goldilocks zone. Perfect conditions for life. Earth exists in what scientists call the Goldilocks zone, the perfect distance from the sun for liquid water to exist. This delicate balance is critical for life as we know it. If Earth were even slightly closer to the sun, the planet would be too hot for water to remain liquid. If it were farther from the sun, the planet would be frozen. Our position in the solar system, the size of our planet, the composition of our atmosphere, all of these factors contribute to the Earth being a habitable environment. But what if Earth's perfect conditions weren't random? What if Earth's orbit, its atmosphere, and its moon were specifically engineered to support life? What if ancient civilizations, facing the destruction of their own worlds, sent their genetic material across the stars, carefully choosing planets like Earth that were capable of sustaining life? This is a central tenet of the Panspermia hypothesis, which suggests that life on Earth may not have emerged naturally, but rather was intentionally seeded by extraterrestrial civilizations. The growing body of evidence, from organic molecules in space to the survival of life in extreme environments, supports the possibility that life on Earth may have been planted here by forces beyond our understanding. The notion that life on Earth might not have originated here, but rather was seeded from space, challenges everything we think we know about our place in the universe. The theory of panspermia proposes that life's building blocks, amino acids, nucleotides, and even simple life forms like bacteria, were transported from one star system to another, carried by comets, asteroids, and meteoroids. These cosmic seeds may have been scattered across the galaxy, eventually taking root on planets like Earth, where the conditions were just right for life to thrive. But could life have been deliberately planted here, not by random cosmic forces, but by an advanced extraterrestrial civilization? While this idea may seem like science fiction, some scientists are beginning to seriously consider it. If life's origins are as improbable as they appear, then perhaps an intelligent civilization, facing the end of its own existence, could have made a conscious effort to propagate life throughout the galaxy. This radical idea, known as direct panspermia, suggests that ancient civilizations may have seeded planets like Earth with life, ensuring the continuation of biological and perhaps even intelligent life across the stars. The concept is intriguing, and while it may seem outlandish, there is mounting evidence that suggests life may have traveled across space, brought to Earth by comets, meteorites, and other cosmic debris. And it raises a tantalizing question. Could humans, too, play a role in the cosmic distribution of life? The first seeds. Life on comets and asteroids. The idea that life, or its building blocks, could be carried across space by comets, asteroids, and meteoroids is not new. In fact, one of the most compelling pieces of evidence for the panspermia hypothesis comes from the study of these celestial bodies. Comets and asteroids are not just chunks of rock. They are time capsules, relics of the early solar system that contain traces of the very materials that formed our planet and the building blocks of life. In the 1980s, NASA's Voyager 2 spacecraft discovered that comets, particularly Halley's Comet, contained organic molecules, including simple amino acids. These findings were groundbreaking. If comets contain amino acids, it suggests that the essential building blocks for life are abundant throughout the solar system. More recently, the Rosetta mission to Comet 67P Churyumov-Gerasimenko provided even more evidence. The spacecraft detected glycine, the simplest amino acid, and other complex organic molecules in the comet's dust. These molecules are not just the raw materials for life. They are the fundamental components that life needs to survive. Asteroids, too, have been found to carry life's essential building blocks. The famous Murchison meteorite, which fell to Earth in 1969, contained over 70 different amino acids, many of which are not found naturally on Earth. This meteorite, along with others that have fallen to Earth, provides compelling evidence that life's raw ingredients may not be unique to Earth but are widely distributed across the cosmos. The discovery of organic molecules in comets, asteroids, and meteorites suggests that life, or at least its essential building blocks, may be widespread throughout the solar system and beyond. These celestial objects, which have been traveling through space for billions of years, may have been responsible for spreading life across the galaxy. If life's building blocks can survive in space, it stands to reason that life itself could also be carried across the stars, waiting for the right conditions to take root. Life from Mars, the role of red planet in cosmic seeding. While comets and asteroids have long been considered the potential vehicles for life's journey through space, Mars plays a particularly intriguing role in the panspermia hypothesis. The red planet has long been a focus of scientific curiosity due to its potential to have once harbored life. Mars, like Earth, was once warmer and wetter, with rivers, lakes, and perhaps even oceans. If life ever existed on Mars, it may have been very similar to the earliest forms of life on Earth. Recent discoveries suggest that Mars may have been more hospitable to life than we previously thought. NASA's Curiosity rover and Perseverance rover have found evidence of organic compounds in Mars's soil, suggesting that the building blocks of life once existed there. In fact, Curiosity found chemicals that are not only essential for life, but also could have supported the development of complex molecules like amino acids and proteins. The fact that these organic compounds exist on Mars supports the idea that Mars may have once supported microbial life. But the most fascinating aspect of Mars in the context of panspermia is its relationship to Earth. The two planets are not isolated from each other. They are part of a cosmic system where material is regularly exchanged between them. When asteroids and comets collide with Mars, they send debris flying into space. Some of this material could have traveled across space, eventually landing on Earth, bringing with it the essential ingredients, or even life itself, that it carried from Mars. This process, known as lithopanspermia, suggests that Mars may have seeded Earth with life. In fact, researchers have found Martian meteorites on Earth, pieces of the Martian surface that were ejected into space by impacts. If these meteorites contain traces of organic material, it suggests that life, or at least the building blocks of life, could have traveled from Mars to Earth. The idea that life on Earth may have originated from Mars, or that the two planets shared a common origin, has profound implications for the panspermia hypothesis. If Mars could have seeded life on Earth, then the process of life spread across the solar system, and perhaps even the galaxy, becomes far more plausible. Could advanced civilizations have seeded life? While the idea of life spreading across space via comets, asteroids, and meteoroids is fascinating, some scientists have proposed a more radical theory, that intelligent extraterrestrial civilizations might have intentionally seeded life on Earth. This idea, known as direct panspermia, suggests that ancient civilizations facing the destruction of their own worlds could have sent microbial life across the stars, ensuring that life, and possibly even intelligent life, would continue to evolve elsewhere in the universe. The concept of direct panspermia gained attention in the 1970s when the renowned astrophysicist Fred Hoyle and his colleague Chandra Wickramasinghe suggested that life on Earth may have been intentionally seeded by extraterrestrial beings. According to their theory, intelligent civilizations could have deliberately sent microbes to Earth, ensuring that life would take root on a habitable planet. While this idea may seem like science fiction, it is rooted in a compelling scientific argument. If life is as improbable as it seems, then it is conceivable that an advanced civilization, with technology far beyond our own, could have ensured the survival of life across the galaxy by deliberately sending it to planets like Earth. Just as we are exploring space and sending probes to other planets, an ancient civilization might have done the same, spreading life across the stars. The idea that extraterrestrial civilizations might have intentionally seeded life on Earth raises many philosophical and existential questions. If we are the product of cosmic seeding, does that mean we are not alone in the universe? Could there be other civilizations scattered across the galaxy that share our origins? And if advanced civilizations exist elsewhere, could they be watching us, waiting for us to reach the stars and join them in the cosmic community? The cosmic responsibility, humanity's role in seeding life. The concept of direct panspermia also raises another intriguing question. Could humanity one day play a role in the cosmic distribution of life? As our technology advances, we are beginning to develop the capability to explore other planets and moons in our solar system, and perhaps beyond. Could we, like the hypothetical extraterrestrial civilizations that seeded life on Earth, one day send life to other planets, ensuring that the cycle of life continues? The idea of humanity playing a role in cosmic seeding may seem far-fetched, but it is not entirely out of reach. We are already studying the possibility of sending microbes to Mars, Europa, and Enceladus, moons of Jupiter and Saturn that may harbor subsurface oceans capable of supporting life. In the future, humanity may develop the ability to intentionally propagate life beyond Earth, spreading our biological legacy across the stars. Conclusion: the cosmic plan. The idea that life may have been seeded on Earth from space, either by cosmic forces or by intelligent extraterrestrial civilizations, is a compelling and radical hypothesis. The discovery of organic molecules in meteorites, the possibility of life on Mars, and the survival of life in space all point to the possibility that life is widespread throughout the cosmos. And if life is not unique to Earth, it suggests that the universe is teeming with potential for life, with countless planets and moons waiting to be seeded with life's building blocks. Perhaps Earth was not the first planet to host life. Perhaps we are just one chapter in a much larger story, a story of cosmic seeding where life spreads from one world to another across vast distances and billions of years. The more we learn about the origins of life, the more it seems that life on Earth is part of a much greater cosmic plan. Meteorites, the remnants of asteroids, comets, and other celestial objects that crash into planets, have long been a source of fascination and study for scientists. These rocky fragments are not just debris, they are ancient time capsules, preserving a record of the early solar system. For years, meteorites have provided key insights into the formation of planets and the evolution of our solar system. But in recent decades, scientists have made a remarkable discovery. Meteorites contain organic molecules, the very building blocks of life. This finding has profound implications for the panspermia hypothesis, suggesting that the ingredients necessary for life may not be confined to Earth but could be scattered across the cosmos, waiting to take root on other worlds. Meteorites, time capsules from space. Meteorites are the remnants of the building blocks that formed the planets, moons, and other bodies in our solar system. They are often composed of a mixture of rock, metal, and ice, but they can also contain an astonishing variety of complex organic compounds. These compounds include amino acids, nucleotides, and other molecules that are vital to the formation of life. But the significance of meteorites goes beyond just the molecules they contain. Meteorites serve as a window into the past, providing clues about the conditions that existed in the early solar system long before Earth was formed. Meteorites come in several different types, each offering unique insights into the history of our solar system. Chondrites, for example, are a type of stony meteorite that contains small, round mineral grains known as chondrules. These chondrites are some of the oldest materials in the solar system, dating back to the formation of the first planets. Because they have remained largely unchanged since their formation, they act as time capsules, preserving a record of the early solar system and the conditions that existed before the planets, including Earth, were fully formed. But beyond their mineral content, meteorites have also revealed an astonishing secret: the presence of organic molecules. The first hints that meteorites might contain organic compounds came in the early 1960s. But it was in the 1960s and 1970s that the significance of this discovery became apparent. Scientists began to find that meteorites contained amino acids, the basic building blocks of proteins. These molecules are essential for life, yet their presence in meteorites raised a fascinating question. How did they get there? The Murchison meteorite, a treasure trove of organic molecules. The discovery of organic molecules in meteorites took a monumental step forward with the arrival of the Murchison meteorite in 1969. This meteorite, which landed in Murchison, Australia, contained over 70 different amino acids, many of which were not found naturally on Earth. These amino acids were of particular interest because they are essential for the formation of proteins, which are the molecular machines that drive life processes. The amino acids found in the Murchison meteorite were not contamination from Earth. They were formed in space under conditions that scientists are only beginning to understand. The amino acids in the Murchison meteorite were not the same as those that are produced by living organisms on Earth. Some of them were non-protein amino acids, which are rarely found in living organisms. The fact that these amino acids were present in a meteorite suggests that they could have been formed in deep space long before the Earth formed. The significance of the Murchison meteorite goes beyond just the amino acids. In addition to amino acids, the meteorite also contained nucleic acid bases, the fundamental building blocks of DNA and RNA. DNA and RNA are the molecules that carry genetic information in all living organisms, making the presence of these nucleotides in the meteorite particularly striking. It suggested that the key components for life's molecular machinery were not unique to Earth but were common across the cosmos. If nucleic acids could form in space, then the ingredients for life may be widespread throughout the universe, waiting for the right conditions to come together. This discovery led scientists to reconsider the traditional ideas about life's origins. If life's building blocks were present in meteorites, then life itself might not have begun here on Earth at all. Instead, These organic molecules could have traveled across space, carried by comets and asteroids, and eventually taken root on planets like Earth, where the conditions were right for life to evolve. Other meteorites, clues to life's origins. Across the solar system. The Murchison meteorite was not the only one to reveal the presence of organic molecules. In fact, scientists have found evidence of similar compounds in other meteorites as well. The Allende meteorite, which fell in Mexico in 1969, contains a wide variety of organic compounds, including amino acids, hydrocarbons, and alcohols. The Allende meteorite is particularly important because it is one of the carbonaceous chondrites, a class of meteorites that are rich in organic compounds. These meteorites are believed to have formed in the outer regions of the solar system where conditions were much colder than on Earth. Like the Murchison meteorite, the Allende meteorite contains amino acids that are not typically found on Earth. In fact, the glycine found in the Allende meteorite, one of the simplest amino acids, was of particular interest because it is a fundamental component of proteins. The discovery of glycine in meteorites supports the idea that the basic building blocks of life are widespread in the solar system and possibly beyond. Other meteorites, including the Murray meteorite, which landed in the United States in 1950, have also been found to contain organic compounds, including amino acids and other simple organic molecules. These meteorites, like the Murchison meteorite, provide evidence that life's essential ingredients are not unique to Earth, but are abundant throughout the cosmos. The discovery of organic molecules in meteorites is significant not only because it suggests that the building blocks of life are common throughout the solar system, but also because it raises the possibility that life itself could have been spread across the stars. If these organic compounds were delivered to Earth via meteorites, then perhaps life itself, either in its simplest form or as complex microorganisms, could have been carried across space on meteoroids, asteroids, or comets. Meteorites and the Panspermia hypothesis. The findings in meteorites provide compelling support for the Panspermia hypothesis, the idea that life's building blocks or even life itself could have been spread across the universe by comets, asteroids, and meteoroids. According to this theory, life did not originate on Earth but was delivered here from another world, carried by space debris. The organic molecules found in meteorites provide the most direct evidence for this idea. Meteorites act as cosmic messengers, carrying information about the conditions that existed in the early solar system and, in some cases, even the chemical signatures of life's building blocks. The fact that amino acids and other complex molecules have been found in meteorites suggests that life's raw ingredients may be ubiquitous in the cosmos. It raises the question, if life's basic components are widespread throughout the universe, could life itself be as well? Moreover, the discovery of organic molecules in meteorites raises the possibility that life could have existed elsewhere in the solar system before it appeared on Earth. Mars, with its early warm, wet conditions, is often considered a prime candidate for having supported life in the past. Could life have once existed on Mars and then traveled to Earth on a meteorite? Could the two planets share a common origin for life? These questions are at the heart of the Panspermia hypothesis, and meteorites provide some of the most compelling evidence for this theory. Life beyond Earth. The search for life on other planets. If life's building blocks are common across the solar system, then the search for life beyond Earth is more promising than ever before. Scientists have already begun exploring planets and moons in our solar system that may harbor the conditions necessary for life. Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, is considered one of the best places to search for signs of life. Beneath its icy surface lies a vast ocean, and scientists believe that the conditions there may be suitable for microbial life to thrive. Similarly, Enceladus, a moon of Saturn, has been found to have plumes of water vapor and organic compounds erupting from its surface. These plumes suggest that Enceladus may have a subsurface ocean that could harbor life. Both Europa and Enceladus are prime candidates for the Panspermia hypothesis. If life exists on these moons, it could be linked to life on Earth, spread across the solar system through meteoroids and comets. The search for life beyond Earth is not limited to our own solar system. Exoplanets, planets orbiting other stars, are increasingly becoming a focus of scientific inquiry. Thousands of exoplanets have been discovered, some of which are located in the habitable zone of their stars, where conditions could allow for liquid water to exist. These exoplanets may have the right conditions for life to emerge and thrive, and scientists are eager to study them for signs of biological activity. Conclusion: meteorites as cosmic messengers. Meteorites are more than just space rocks. They are messengers from the cosmos, carrying vital clues about the origins of life. The discovery of organic molecules in meteorites provides strong evidence that life's building blocks are widespread across the universe, potentially waiting for the right conditions to take root on other planets. Whether through the cosmic delivery of amino acids, nucleotides, or even microorganisms, meteorites serve as a key link in the chain of life spread across the galaxy. As scientists continue to study meteorites and search for life beyond Earth, the evidence for panspermia continues to grow. The idea that life, or at least its essential ingredients, could have traveled across space raises the exciting possibility that life may be common in the universe. Earth may not be the only planet where life has taken root, and our search for life elsewhere in the solar system and beyond is just beginning. For centuries, Mars has captivated human imagination. Known as the Red Planet, it has been the subject of myth, speculation, and, more recently, intense scientific inquiry. The notion that life may have once thrived on Mars has intrigued scientists and the public alike, with the planet's similarities to Earth fueling theories about its potential to harbor microbial life. While Earth is the only known planet with life today, Mars has long been considered the best candidate for hosting life in the past, and perhaps even in the present. The possibility of life on Mars isn't just science fiction, it's a real scientific question. Mars is the most Earth-like planet in the solar system. It has seasons, polar ice caps, and a day that is nearly the same length as ours. Evidence from ancient surface features suggests that Mars once had liquid water, rivers, lakes, and even oceans, similar to early Earth. These ancient bodies of water could have provided the perfect environment for life to begin. But the question remains, if Mars was once habitable, could it have sustained life? And if so, could life from Mars have traveled to Earth, as proposed by the Panspermia hypothesis? Mars' ancient history, a warm and wet past. About 4 billion years ago, Mars was a very different place from the cold, dry world we see today. Mars's atmosphere was thicker, and the planet had liquid water on its surface. Ancient river valleys, lake beds, and mineral deposits found by Mars, rovers and orbiters point to the presence of water. Water is essential for life as we know it, and its presence on Mars raises the possibility that microbial life could have once thrived there. One of the most significant discoveries came from NASA's Curiosity rover and Perseverance rover missions. They found evidence of ancient riverbeds, lakes, and deltas, places where water once flowed and pooled. The discovery of clay minerals and sulfates in Mars's ancient surface rocks indicates that water, and possibly life, was present for a prolonged period of time. These minerals form in the presence of water and are crucial for understanding Mars's habitability in the past. Scientists believe that Mars may have had a warmer, more Earth-like climate during the Noachian period, which lasted from about 4.4 billion to 3.7 billion years ago. During this time, Mars may have had a thicker atmosphere, providing a greenhouse effect that kept the surface warm enough for liquid water to exist. The presence of minerals that form in water, like hematite, a form of iron oxide, and carbonates, suggests that the red planet may have been hospitable to life in its distant past. However, Mars's climate began to change over time. As the planet's atmosphere thinned and its magnetic field weakened, Mars was no longer able to retain heat. The surface temperatures plummeted, and water on Mars eventually froze or evaporated, leaving the dry, barren landscape we see today. But did life emerge on Mars during this warmer, wetter period? Could microbial life have thrived there, only to vanish as conditions worsened? Or is there still microbial life hiding beneath the planet's frozen surface, waiting to be discovered? The evidence for life, organic compounds on Mars. In 1996, scientists discovered a Martian meteorite, ALH 84001, which had been ejected from Mars millions of years ago. This meteorite, which landed in Antarctica, contained structures that appeared to resemble microfossils, tiny, elongated formations that some researchers suggested could be evidence of ancient microbial life on Mars. The discovery was controversial, with some scientists arguing that the features were simply the result of mineral formation, while others believed they could be signs of past Martian life. While ALH 84001 provided tantalizing clues, it wasn't until the Curiosity rover landed on Mars in 2012 that we began to get more definitive evidence of organic molecules on the Martian surface. Curiosity's instruments detected organic molecules, including chlorobenzene and chlorobiphenyl, both of which are carbon-based compounds that are commonly associated with life on Earth. This discovery marked a major milestone in the search for life on Mars, suggesting that the building blocks of life, carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen, were present on the red planet. More recently, the Perseverance rover, which landed on Mars in 2021, has been tasked with searching for signs of past life in a region known as Jezero Crater, which scientists believe may have once housed an ancient lake. Perseverance is equipped with advanced tools to search for organic compounds, including a drill that can collect soil samples to be returned to Earth in future missions. These samples could provide definitive proof of ancient life on Mars if it ever existed. In addition to organic molecules, the Perseverance mission has also found evidence of ancient biologically relevant minerals, such as phyllosilicates and carbonates, which form in the presence of water. These minerals, combined with the evidence of ancient water sources, further strengthen the possibility that Mars may have once been habitable and could have supported microbial life. Mars and the Panspermia hypothesis. Mars plays a central role in the Panspermia hypothesis. If life ever existed on Mars, it raises the question of whether life, or its building blocks, could have traveled from one planet to another. The concept of lithopanspermia, or the idea that life could be transferred between planets by meteoroids, asteroids, or comets, suggests that life on Earth may have originated on Mars. Mars and Earth are not isolated from one another in the cosmic sense. The two planets are part of a dynamic system in which material is exchanged between them. Mars, like Earth, has been bombarded by asteroids and comets over the course of its history. When an asteroid or comet strikes Mars, it can eject pieces of Mars' surface into space. These fragments, called Martian meteorites, have been found on Earth, offering a direct link between the two planets. If Mars ever harbored life, it's possible that microorganisms or organic molecules could have been blasted off the surface of Mars during a massive impact event and carried to Earth by these meteorites. Over the course of billions of years, life, either as microorganisms or as the raw ingredients for life, could have traveled from Mars to Earth, where it eventually took root and evolved into the complex life forms we see today. In fact, studies have shown that microbes can survive the extreme conditions of space. Experiments aboard the International Space Station have demonstrated that certain bacteria can survive in the vacuum of space, exposed to cosmic radiation and extreme temperatures. These findings suggest that life, or at least the microbial organisms that would serve as the foundation of life, could travel across space, potentially carried by meteorites, asteroids, and comets. The possibility that life could have been exchanged between Mars and Earth raises the intriguing question: could Mars have seeded Earth with life? Or, conversely, could Earth have seeded Mars? Given that the two planets share many similarities, both once had liquid water, both have evidence of volcanic activity, and both are part of the same solar system, Mars may very well have been a crucial step in the process of life spread across the universe. The search for life on Mars. What's next? As technology continues to advance, the search for life on Mars is intensifying. NASA's InSight mission, which arrived on Mars in 2018, has been studying the planet's interior, providing insight into its geological activity. Meanwhile, the ExoMars mission, a collaboration between NASA and the Russian space agency Roscosmos, is preparing to send a rover to the surface of Mars in the near future. This rover will search for signs of ancient microbial life, as well as study the planet's surface and subsurface for the presence of water and organic molecules. In addition to these missions, there are plans to return Martian soil samples to Earth. The Mars Sample Return Mission, planned for the late 2020s or early 2030s, will collect samples from Mars and bring them back to Earth for study. These samples could provide definitive evidence of past or present life on Mars, marking a major milestone in the search for extraterrestrial life. The question of whether life ever existed on Mars or whether it still exists today in microbial form is one of the most profound scientific questions of our time. If life did exist on Mars, and if it shares a common origin with life on Earth, it could have far-reaching implications for our understanding of life in the universe. It would suggest that life is not a rare anomaly, confined to one planet in a vast cosmos, but rather a cosmic phenomenon, spread from one world to another across the stars. Conclusion: the red planet's legacy. Mars has long been a source of fascination for scientists, not just for its mysterious red surface, but for its potential to have once harbored life. The evidence continues to mount that Mars may have been a warm, wet world capable of supporting microbial life in its distant past. The discovery of organic compounds, minerals, and signs of ancient water raises the possibility that life may have once existed on the red planet. But more importantly, it connects Mars to the broader question of how life travels across the cosmos. Mars may hold the key to understanding our own origins. If life, or its building blocks, traveled from Mars to Earth via meteorites, then Earth may not be the only planet where life has evolved. Life, it seems, could be a cosmic phenomenon, spreading from one planet to another, carried on the wings of asteroids, comets, and meteoroids. As we continue to explore Mars and search for signs of life, we may uncover answers not only about the red planet's past, but also about the vast interconnected network of life in the universe. When we think about life, we tend to imagine it in familiar forms: lush forests, fertile farmlands, deep oceans, and thriving ecosystems. Life, as we know it, exists within a narrow range of conditions: temperatures that support water in liquid form, an atmosphere rich in oxygen and nitrogen, and stable climates. But as our exploration of extreme environments on Earth has revealed, life is far more resilient and adaptable than we could have ever imagined. Extremophiles, organisms that thrive in environments considered inhospitable to most life forms, have expanded our understanding of the limits of life. From deep-sea hydrothermal vents to boiling hot springs, from the frozen tundra to acidic lakes, extremophiles have been discovered in some of the most extreme places on Earth. These hardy organisms not only survive but flourish in conditions that would destroy most other forms of life. The discovery of extremophiles has profound implications for the search for life beyond Earth, suggesting that life could survive in environments that were once thought to be completely inhospitable. The existence of extremophiles challenges the idea that life requires specific, Earth-like conditions to thrive. If life can survive in the most extreme environments on Earth, it opens up the possibility that life could exist in similarly harsh conditions elsewhere in the universe, on other planets, moons, or even on distant exoplanets. These discoveries raise critical questions about the potential for life beyond Earth and the resilience of microorganisms. Could life, or at least its microbial forms, be spread across space, traveling between planets, moons, and stars? Could life survive the vacuum of space, the radiation of the cosmos, and the freezing temperatures of distant worlds? What are extremophiles? Extremophiles are organisms that thrive in extreme conditions, environments that would typically be fatal to most life forms. These extreme conditions can include extreme temperatures, high levels of radiation, intense acidity or alkalinity, high salinity, or even the absence of oxygen. Extremophiles come in many forms, from bacteria and archaea to fungi, and even larger organisms like certain fish. Despite the challenges posed by these extreme environments, extremophiles have evolved specialized mechanisms that allow them to survive and even thrive. There are several types of extremophiles, each adapted to a specific set of extreme conditions. Some of the most well-known categories of extremophiles include 1. Thermophiles. These organisms thrive in extremely high temperatures, often in environments like hot springs, volcanic vents, or hydrothermal vents. Some thermophiles can survive temperatures above 200 degrees Celsius, 93 degrees Celsius, far beyond the range of most life forms. Thermophiles are often found in environments where other organisms would be destroyed by the heat. 2. Psychrophiles. These are organisms that thrive in extremely cold conditions, such as those found in Antarctica, the Arctic, or deep in the ocean. Some psychrophiles can survive in temperatures as low as 40 degrees and 40 degrees, where most organisms would freeze and die. 3. Halophiles. These extremophiles thrive in highly saline environments such as salt flats, salt lakes, and salt mines. Halophiles have adapted to life in water with salt concentrations much higher than that of seawater, which would dehydrate most other life forms. 4. Acidophils and alkalophils. These organisms thrive in environments with extreme pH levels, either highly acidic, acidophils, or highly alkaline, alkalophils. Some acidophils can survive in environments with a pH of 1 or 2, such as in sulfuric hot springs or acid mine drainage. 5. Radiophiles. These organisms can survive and even thrive in environments with high levels of radiation, such as those found in nuclear reactors or in space. Some radiophiles have developed the ability to repair their DNA even after it has been damaged by radiation, making them incredibly resilient to radioactive environments. These extreme survival capabilities of extremophiles raise an important question. If life can survive under such extreme conditions on Earth, could it also survive in similar environments on other planets or moons? And could these extremophiles, these microscopic hardy organisms, be capable of traveling across space, surviving the harsh conditions of space travel, and taking root on distant worlds? Extremophiles and the search for life beyond Earth. The discovery of extremophiles on Earth has profound implications for the search for life beyond our planet. If life can thrive in the harshest environments on Earth, it's reasonable to think that life could survive on other planets or moons that may appear hostile by Earth standards. Scientists are now looking to some of the most extreme places in the solar system as potential habitats for extraterrestrial life. One of the most promising places to look for life is Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. Europa has a thick icy shell that covers a vast ocean beneath. The ocean is believed to be in contact with a rocky seafloor, creating the potential for hydrothermal vents, similar to those found on Earth, where extremophiles thrive in the deep ocean. If life exists on Europa, it could be microbial, similar to the extremophils that survive in Earth's deep-sea vents. But the most exciting aspect of Europa is that it is one of the few places in our solar system where life could exist under the ice, in an environment that's far colder and more extreme than anything we experience on Earth. Another place where extremophils could potentially survive is Enceladus, one of Saturn's moons. Enceladus has geysers that shoot water vapor and organic molecules into space from beneath its icy crust. These geysers are believed to come from a subsurface ocean, which could harbor microbial life. Like Europa, Enceladus offers a hidden ocean that might provide a habitat for extremophiles, protected from the cold and the vacuum of space by its thick, icy crust. Mars, the fourth planet from the Sun, is another key focus of the search for life beyond Earth. In its ancient past, Mars was much warmer and wetter than it is today. Evidence suggests that Mars once had rivers, lakes, and possibly even oceans. The presence of ancient minerals that form in the presence of water indicates that Mars could have once supported life. While today's Mars is a frozen, barren desert, microbial life may have once thrived in its watery past. The discovery of salt deposits and organic molecules in Mars' surface soil suggests that life's building blocks were present there. Moreover, life on Mars could have survived in some form beneath the surface, where conditions are more stable and protected from the harsh radiation of the Martian surface. Just as extremophils survive in Earth's deep oceans and hot springs, microbial life could have persisted in Mars's subsurface, perhaps waiting to be discovered by future missions. The discovery of extremophils on Earth has changed how we think about the possibilities for life on other planets. If extremophils can survive in such harsh conditions on Earth, there's no reason to believe that similar organisms couldn't survive on other planets or moons that have been long considered inhospitable. These findings open up new possibilities for the panspermia hypothesis, suggesting that extremophiles, or their precursors, could have traveled across space, carried on asteroids, comets, and meteoroids, and eventually taken root on planets like Earth or Mars. Surviving the harshness of space. One of the most striking discoveries regarding extremophiles is their ability to survive in space itself. For decades, scientists have wondered if life could survive the harsh conditions of space travel. Could microorganisms endure the vacuum of space, the extreme temperatures, and the cosmic radiation that pervade the cosmos? The answer, as it turns out, is yes. In 2007, an experiment aboard the International Space Station exposed Bacillus subtilis bacteria to the vacuum of space. The bacteria were subjected to the harsh conditions of space for 18 months, including exposure to radiation, extreme temperature fluctuations, and the lack of atmosphere. Remarkably, some of the bacteria survived the journey, and when they returned to Earth, they were able to grow and reproduce. These findings were groundbreaking, as they suggested that certain microorganisms could survive in space and potentially travel across vast distances, carried on meteoroids or comets, and eventually take root on other planets. Similarly, tardigrades, also known as water bears, have been shown to survive in space. These microscopic animals are among the most resilient organisms on Earth. They can endure extreme temperatures, radiation, dehydration, and the vacuum of space by entering a state known as cryptobiosis, in which their metabolism essentially shuts down. In this state, tardigrades can survive in conditions that would kill most other life forms. In 2007, researchers sent tardigrades into space on a European Space Agency mission, and many of them survived. The harsh conditions of space, even reproducing once they return to Earth. These discoveries provide compelling evidence that life, or at least microbial life, can endure the extreme conditions of space travel. This opens up the possibility that life, or its building blocks, could be spread across the cosmos by comets, asteroids, and meteors. The idea that life could survive the vacuum of space and travel between planets, moons, and stars is one of the most exciting implications of the panspermia hypothesis. Conclusion: life's resilience and the future of space exploration. The discovery of extremophils has profoundly changed our understanding of life's resilience and adaptability. Life, it seems, is far more robust and adaptable than we ever imagined. Extremophils thrive in the most extreme environments on Earth, from the boiling hot springs to the freezing cold of Antarctica. These hardy organisms not only survive but flourish in conditions that would destroy most other life forms. The implications of these discoveries for the search for life beyond Earth are profound. If life can survive in such harsh conditions on Earth, it's reasonable to think that life could survive in similarly extreme environments on other planets or moons. As we continue to explore the solar system and beyond, the search for life on planets like Mars, moons like Europa and Enceladus, and distant exoplanets becomes more promising than ever. Extremophils also provide crucial insights into the possibility of life traveling between planets, carried by asteroids, comets, and meteoroids. The idea that life, or at least its microbial forms, could travel across space opens up new possibilities for the panspermia hypothesis. Life, it seems, could be far more widespread in the universe than we ever thought, carried across the cosmos by the very forces that shape the stars and planets. When we think of the search for extraterrestrial life, our gaze often turns toward the distant exoplanets orbiting other stars. But in our own solar system, there are a few intriguing worlds that offer the possibility of life, hidden within the frigid depths of ice, beneath the surface of oceans that we've yet to fully explore. Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, stands out as one of the most promising locations to search for signs of life beyond Earth. Europa is a frozen world, its surface covered by a thick layer of ice, which in itself is a mystery. What lies beneath this frozen shell? Scientists believe that Europa harbors a vast subsurface ocean beneath its icy crust, an ocean that could be home to microbial life. This possibility makes Europa a prime target in the search for life beyond Earth, and its potential for hosting life raises fundamental questions about the universality of life in the cosmos. Europa's ocean is thought to be in contact with the Moon's rocky mantle, which could provide the necessary chemical ingredients for life, much like the hydrothermal vents at the bottom of Earth's oceans. As Europa orbits Jupiter, the gravitational pull from the gas giant causes tidal flexing, stretching and squeezing the Moon. This process generates enough heat to potentially keep the ocean beneath its surface liquid, despite the frigid temperatures of the outer surface. This heat could fuel hydrothermal activity on the ocean floor, creating the right conditions for life to thrive in a similar way to Earth's deep-sea vents. But the question remains, is there life on Europa? And if so, how did it get there? Could life have originated on Europa, or was it seeded by comets, asteroids, or even by Earth itself, carried across space by the forces of panspermia? Europa's ocean, a hidden world. Beneath the ice. Europa is one of the 4 Galilean moons of Jupiter, discovered by Galileo Galilei in 1610. It is about the size of Earth's moon, but much smaller in comparison to Jupiter itself. Europa's surface is covered in a thick layer of water ice, which is broken up by ridges and cracks, suggesting that the icy crust is floating on a subsurface ocean. This ice-covered world is one of the most geologically active places in the solar system, with evidence of tectonic processes taking place beneath the surface. What makes Europa particularly intriguing is the possibility of a subsurface ocean beneath its icy shell. Scientists have theorized for years that Europa's ocean could harbor life, much like Earth's oceans. But this idea was once purely speculative. In recent years, however, spacecraft such as NASA's Galileo orbiter and Hubble Space Telescope have provided evidence that supports this theory. The Galileo spacecraft, which orbited Jupiter from 1995 to 2003, detected a magnetic field around Europa that suggested the presence of a conductive layer beneath the icy surface, likely a subsurface ocean of liquid water. These observations were later supported by Hubble's detection of water vapor erupting from Europa's surface. These plumes of water vapor are thought to be linked to the subsurface ocean, providing a potential way for scientists to study Europa's ocean without having to drill through the ice. Europa's ocean is estimated to be 100 kilometers, about 60 miles, deep, and it is believed to be in contact with the Moon's rocky mantle. This contact is crucial because the rocky seafloor could provide essential minerals and chemicals for life, much like Earth's oceanic vents, where microbes thrive in the absence of sunlight. Europa's ocean could be a similar environment, one where life, if it exists, could depend on chemosynthesis, using chemical energy rather than sunlight, to survive. The potential for life on Europa is not only fascinating because of its ocean, but also because of the tidal heating caused by Jupiter's gravitational pull. As Europa orbits Jupiter, it is constantly stretched and squeezed by the gas giant's massive gravity. This tidal flexing generates enough heat to keep the subsurface ocean liquid, despite the freezing temperatures on the surface. In fact, the heat generated by this process could create the perfect conditions for hydrothermal vents, deep-sea geysers of hot mineral-rich water that could support microbial life. Europa's harsh surface, a barrier, not an obstacle. The surface of Europa is harsh and inhospitable. The Moon's icy crust is bombarded by radiation from Jupiter's powerful magnetic field, making the surface an extremely hostile environment for life. The surface temperature of Europa is around 160 degrees Celsius, 260 degrees Celsius, far too cold to support life as we know it. Furthermore, the radiation levels on the surface are deadly to any life form exposed to them for extended periods. However, beneath the surface, Europa's ocean is shielded from this radiation, creating a relatively stable and protected environment where life could potentially thrive. The ice sheet may act as a barrier, keeping harmful radiation from reaching the ocean below while providing a stable environment for life to evolve. This thick ice sheet also helps to trap heat generated by tidal forces, maintaining the liquid state of the ocean. In essence, while the surface of Europa is uninhabitable, the subsurface ocean is a potential sanctuary for life, much like the deep oceans of Earth, where hydrothermal vents provide warmth and energy for microbial ecosystems. These vents on Earth support life despite the absence of sunlight, where organisms rely on chemicals such as sulfur and methane instead of solar energy. If Europa's ocean has similar chemical processes occurring on its seafloor, it could harbor microbial life forms, potentially similar to the extremophiles found in Earth's deep-sea vents. The search for life on Europa: what we know and what we don't. Despite the promising evidence that Europa's ocean could harbor life, we do not yet know if life exists there. To answer this question, scientists are planning new missions to Europa in the coming decades. The most ambitious of these is NASA's Europa Clipper mission, which is scheduled to launch in the 2020s. Europa Clipper will conduct detailed surveys of Europa's ice shell, its ocean, and its potential for life. The spacecraft will carry a suite of scientific instruments designed to study the Moon's surface, measure the composition of the plumes of water vapor, and assess the ocean's depth and chemistry. One of the key goals of the mission is to determine whether Europa's ocean has the right conditions to support life, and whether life ever existed there. Europa Clipper will also study Europa's icy surface to understand how the Moon's ice interacts with its ocean. The spacecraft will carry instruments capable of analyzing the composition of Europa's surface and the water vapor plumes, looking for signs of organic molecules, salts, and other chemicals that could indicate biological activity. The mission will also study the structure of the ice shell and attempt to measure the thickness of the ocean beneath, providing critical information about the potential for life beneath the surface. But the real question is whether Europa could harbor life. Could it have microbial organisms thriving in the deep, dark ocean beneath the ice? Or could life have evolved in this isolated environment, relying on chemosynthesis to sustain itself? As exciting as it is to consider these possibilities, we must remember that life, as we know it, requires certain elements: liquid water, an energy source, and essential chemicals like carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen. Europa's ocean may provide all of these, but whether life exists there, whether it ever did, remains one of the greatest unknowns in the search for extraterrestrial life. Panspermia and Europa. The possibility of life from space. Europa's potential to harbor life also has profound implications for the panspermia hypothesis. If life can exist on Europa, it raises the possibility that life, or at least its building blocks, could have been delivered to Earth or to other planets via comets, meteoroids, or asteroids. In this scenario, life could have originated elsewhere, perhaps on Europa or another moon, and was later carried to Earth by cosmic debris. This theory supports the idea that life is not confined to one planet, but is widespread across the cosmos, traveling between worlds, waiting for the right conditions to take root. Europa is not the only moon with potential for life. Other moons in our solar system, such as Enceladus, Saturn's moon, Titan, another moon of Saturn, and Ganymede, Jupiter's largest moon, also harbor subsurface oceans or lakes that could harbor microbial life. These moons, like Europa, could provide the right conditions for life to evolve, and they may hold the key to understanding how life spreads across the universe. Conclusion: a hidden world of possibilities. Europa represents one of the most compelling places to search for life beyond Earth. Beneath its icy surface, there could be an ocean of liquid water, heated by tidal forces, providing the right environment for life to thrive. While we have yet to confirm the presence of life on Europa, the evidence for its potential habitability is growing. The discovery of organic molecules, the detection of water vapor plumes, and the identification of possible hydrothermal activity all point to a moon with the right ingredients for life. If life does exist on Europa, it could radically change our understanding of biology, life's adaptability, and the distribution of life throughout the universe. It could also support the idea that life on Earth was not a unique event, but rather part of a larger cosmic process, one that spans across the stars and through time as life travels from world to world, carried on comets, asteroids, and meteoroids. For centuries, the Earth has been viewed as the cradle of life, unique in the universe for its diverse ecosystems and vibrant biological activity. However, recent scientific discoveries have made it clear that Earth's suitability for life is not just a matter of coincidence. Earth exists in what scientists call the Goldilocks zone, a region around a star where conditions are just right for liquid water to exist, neither too hot nor too cold, but just the perfect temperature for life to thrive. This narrow range of conditions is critical for the development of life, as water is essential for all known life forms. The concept of the Goldilocks zone, also known as the habitable zone, is a key factor in the search for life beyond Earth. For years, astronomers have been searching for exoplanets, planets that orbit stars other than our Sun, within their own star's habitable zones, hoping to find worlds that could support life. Yet, as we learn more about Earth's unique position and the conditions required to sustain life, we must ask, was Earth's position in the Goldilocks zone truly a cosmic accident, or was it intentionally placed there? The idea that Earth may occupy a perfect position for life challenges the traditional notion of a random, chaotic universe. Could it be that Earth's place in the Goldilocks zone is not an accident, but rather the result of a grand cosmic design, either by natural forces or by an advanced extraterrestrial civilization? This chapter will explore the Goldilocks zone, the unique conditions that Earth enjoys, and how these conditions may be part of a larger intentional plan for the spread of life across the cosmos. What is the Goldilocks zone? The Goldilocks zone is a term borrowed from the fairy tale Goldilocks and the Three Bears, where Goldilocks finds one porridge bowl too hot, another too cold, and the third just right. In the context of astronomy, the Goldilocks zone refers to the habitable zone around a star where the temperature is just right for liquid water to exist on a planet's surface. If a planet is too close to its star, the heat will cause water to evaporate, creating a dry, barren landscape. If the planet is too far from its star, the cold temperatures will freeze any water, creating an icy, lifeless world. On Earth, water is essential for all life forms. It serves as a solvent for biochemical reactions, a medium for transporting nutrients, and a regulator of temperature. Liquid water is the foundation of life as we know it. The Goldilocks zone, therefore, plays a critical role in determining whether a planet can support life. Earth's position in the solar system places it squarely in the Sun's Goldilocks zone. The Sun provides just the right amount of heat and light to keep water in liquid form, allowing life to flourish. Our planet's temperature remains stable enough for life to thrive thanks to the greenhouse effect, which traps some of the Sun's heat in the atmosphere. But Earth's conditions are also delicately balanced. Too much heat and Earth would become a runaway greenhouse like Venus. Too little heat and Earth would be a frozen world like Mars. Why is Earth's position in the Goldilocks zone so unique? Earth's position in the Goldilocks zone is remarkable, not only because it allows for liquid water, but because it also provides the perfect conditions for a wide variety of life forms. But could Earth's placement in this zone be an accident, or is there something more to this perfect positioning? When we look at other planets in our solar system, we see that Earth is the only one with the right combination of temperature, atmosphere, and liquid water. Venus, despite being close to the Sun, is too hot to support life, with surface temperatures soaring above 900 degrees Celsius, 475 degrees Celsius. Mars, on the other hand, is too far from the Sun and is too cold to have liquid water on its surface. While both Venus and Mars are interesting from a scientific standpoint, they do not meet the conditions necessary for life to thrive. Beyond our solar system, astronomers are beginning to discover exoplanets that exist in the Goldilocks zones of their stars. These Earth-like exoplanets are the prime candidates for the search for extraterrestrial life. The discovery of these planets, some located in star systems similar to our own, has given scientists hope that life may exist elsewhere in the galaxy. However, even if an exoplanet is located in the Goldilocks zone, it doesn't guarantee that it can support life. Many other factors, such as the planet's atmosphere, magnetic field, and geological activity, are also critical for life to exist. Despite the growing number of potentially habitable exoplanets, Earth remains unique in its ability to support a diverse range of life forms. Our atmosphere, rich in oxygen and nitrogen, and our magnetic field, which shields the planet from harmful solar radiation, are just two of the factors that make Earth so special. These conditions are not necessarily common in the universe, and it raises the question, was Earth placed in the Goldilocks zone by pure chance, or was its position the result of some kind of cosmic design? The fine-tuning of Earth's conditions. The idea that Earth occupies a perfect position for life leads to an intriguing question. Is this fine-tuning the result of chance, or could it be part of a grander design? Some scientists have pointed to the idea of cosmic fine-tuning, where the conditions that make Earth habitable seem to be so perfectly aligned that it suggests a guiding hand in the process. One of the most compelling aspects of this argument is the anthropic principle, which suggests that the universe must be compatible with the existence of life because we are here to observe it. In other words, the fact that life exists on Earth is a result of the universe's conditions being conducive to life. However, this principle raises a question. Could life be the result of these perfect conditions, or could those conditions have been intentionally created? The fine-tuning of Earth's environment suggests that the conditions necessary for life may not be as random as we once thought. For example, Earth's orbital distance from the Sun is just right to allow for liquid water. Its size and mass are optimal for maintaining an atmosphere capable of supporting life. If Earth were even slightly larger, the planet's gravity might hold on to a thick, toxic atmosphere, making it impossible for life to evolve. If Earth were smaller, it might lack the atmosphere needed to protect life from harmful radiation. The fact that Earth is positioned perfectly in the Goldilocks zone, with a stable climate and an atmosphere that can sustain life, raises the possibility that our planet's placement may not be entirely accidental. Could Earth's conditions be the result of cosmic design, either by natural forces or by an extraterrestrial civilization? Direct panspermia. Was Earth placed in the Goldilocks zone by design? One hypothesis that ties into the idea of Earth's perfect position in the Goldilocks zone is direct panspermia, the theory that life on Earth was intentionally seeded by an advanced extraterrestrial civilization. This theory suggests that ancient civilizations, perhaps facing the collapse of their own worlds, deliberately sent life across the galaxy to planets like Earth, where it could take root and evolve. The idea of life being deliberately seeded on Earth by an extraterrestrial civilization raises profound philosophical and scientific questions. If life was intentionally planted on Earth, it would suggest that Earth's position in the Goldilocks zone was not an accident, but rather part of a deliberate effort to propagate life throughout the universe. This theory would also imply that Earth was chosen as a site for life's development due to its ideal conditions for sustaining life. While this idea might seem fantastical, it raises intriguing possibilities about the nature of life in the universe. If life can be intentionally seeded across the stars, it suggests that life may be more common than we previously thought. Earth could be just one of many planets where life has been deliberately placed, ensuring that life continues to evolve across the galaxy. And if such civilizations exist, they could be watching us, waiting for us to discover the truth about our origins. The search for life beyond Earth, implications for the Goldilocks zone. As astronomers continue their search for habitable planets beyond our solar system, the discovery of exoplanets in the Goldilocks zones of distant stars has become a key focus of space exploration. Over 5,000 exoplanets have been discovered so far, and many of them exist in the habitable zones of their stars. These planets, some located hundreds of light years away, may have conditions similar to Earth, and they represent our best hope for finding life beyond our planet. The search for life on these exoplanets, however, is fraught with challenges. Even if a planet lies in the Goldilocks zone, it may not necessarily be capable of supporting life. The planet's atmosphere, geology, and magnetic field all play a critical role in determining whether life can exist there. And even if life does exist, it may be vastly different from the life we know on Earth. The discovery of life beyond Earth, whether in our own solar system or on distant exoplanets, would have profound implications for humanity. It would suggest that life is not a rare anomaly, but a widespread phenomenon across the universe. And it would open the door to questions about our own origins. Could life on Earth have been intentionally seeded here by an advanced civilization? Could life be a universal process, spread across the stars by the forces of nature or by the hands of intelligent beings? Conclusion: Earth's unique position in the cosmos. Earth's position in the Goldilocks zone is one of the most remarkable features of our planet. It is not just a coincidence that Earth is able to support life. The combination of our planet's size, distance from the sun, atmosphere, and magnetic field create the perfect conditions for life to thrive. But this perfect position raises questions about the nature of life's existence. Was Earth's placement in the Goldilocks zone a cosmic accident, or is it part of a grand design? The Panspermia hypothesis suggests that life may not have originated on Earth at all, but was seeded here from space, carried by comets, asteroids, and meteoroids. Whether life was spread across the cosmos by natural forces or by an advanced extraterrestrial civilization, the evidence is mounting that life, or at least its building blocks, may be widespread throughout the universe. As we continue to explore the solar system in search for exoplanets, we are beginning to realize that Earth is not the only planet where life could thrive. The Goldilocks zone is not a unique feature of our solar system, but is a natural consequence of the conditions necessary for life to exist. And as we search the stars for other habitable worlds, we may one day find that Earth's position in the Goldilocks zone was not an accident, but part of a larger cosmic plan. When we think about life on Earth, it often seems like a rare and precious phenomenon. But what if life is not confined to just one planet? What if life, in its simplest form, is widespread throughout the cosmos, carried across the stars by cosmic forces? The idea that life could spread from one planet to another, cosmic seeding, is a central tenet of the Panspermia hypothesis. But how, exactly, could life survive the harsh conditions of space and travel across vast distances? And if life could survive the journey, what does this mean for the possibility of life beyond Earth? The concept of life traveling through space is a radical idea, but it is one that has gained traction in recent years. With the discovery of extremophiles, microorganisms that thrive in extreme conditions on Earth, and the finding that life's building blocks are widespread in space, the possibility of life surviving space travel and colonizing other planets seems more plausible than ever. The idea of life traveling across the cosmos raises several fundamental questions. How could life survive the vacuum of space, the radiation from stars, and the freezing temperatures of deep space? What mechanisms could allow life to travel across interstellar distances, potentially spreading life from one planet to another? And perhaps most importantly, if life can travel through space, could it be that we are not the first civilization to rise in the universe? Are we part of a larger cosmic cycle of life, spread across the stars, waiting for the right conditions to take root? Surviving the harshness of space. The most significant challenge for any organism traveling through space is surviving the vacuum of space, where there's no atmosphere to protect it from the harsh conditions of radiation and extreme temperatures. Space is an incredibly hostile environment. The temperatures in space can fluctuate dramatically, from hundreds of degrees below freezing in the shadow of a planet to thousands of degrees in direct sunlight. There's also the problem of cosmic radiation, which bombards objects in space and can cause DNA damage to living organisms. So, how could life survive in such conditions? The key to this question lies in the study of extremophiles, organisms that thrive in Earth's most extreme environments. Some extremophiles have been shown to survive in conditions that would kill most life forms. For example, tardigrades, also known as water bears, are microscopic animals that can survive in the vacuum of space. They do this by entering a state of cryptobiosis in which their metabolism essentially shuts down, allowing them to endure extreme conditions such as radiation, desiccation, and freezing temperatures. In 2007, NASA's Phoenix lander sent tardigrades into space, exposing them to the vacuum of space and cosmic radiation. After 10 days, some of the tardigrades survived and even reproduced once they returned to Earth. This remarkable ability to endure space travel suggests that life, or at least microbial life, could survive the journey across space, potentially carried by meteoroids, comets, or other space debris. Tardigrades are not the only extremophils capable of surviving in space. Bacteria, such as Bacillus subtilis, have also been shown to survive in the vacuum of space, including exposure to high levels of radiation. These bacteria can form spores that are highly resistant to environmental stress. When exposed to the vacuum of space and ultraviolet radiation, these spores can remain dormant for extended periods of time and still survive when returned to Earth. These findings provide compelling evidence that life, or at least microorganisms, can endure the harsh conditions of space. If these tiny, resilient organisms can survive the extreme conditions of space, it stands to reason that life, or the precursors to life, could travel across the vast distances between stars, planets, and moons. How life could travel across space, lithopanspermia. One of the most exciting implications of life's ability to survive space travel is the possibility that life could spread from one planet to another. This concept is known as lithopanspermia, which proposes that life, or its building blocks, can be transported between planets by meteoroids, comets, and asteroids. Lithopanspermia works on the idea that when an asteroid or comet strikes a planet, it can eject debris from the planet's surface into space. This debris could include rock, dust, and even microscopic organisms. The material that is ejected from the planet's surface could travel across space, eventually landing on another planet or moon where the conditions are right for life to take root. This means that life could spread from one world to another, potentially taking root in the form of simple organisms like bacteria or spores. The idea that life could travel across space via meteorites is not just theoretical. In fact, there is direct evidence that supports this hypothesis. Mars and Earth are not isolated from each other. They are part of a dynamic cosmic system where material is regularly exchanged between the two planets. When asteroids or comets strike Mars, they can eject pieces of Mars's surface into space. Some of these Martian meteorites have landed on Earth, providing a direct link between the two planets. The fact that Mars and Earth exchange material in this way means that life could potentially travel between the two planets. In fact, some scientists believe that life on Earth may have originated on Mars. During the early history of the solar system, Mars may have had a much more Earth-like climate, with liquid water on its surface. If life ever existed on Mars, it's possible that microbes could have been blasted off the planet by an impact and carried to Earth on a meteorite. Over millions of years, life could have evolved on Earth from these microbes. This idea, Mars is the origin of life on Earth, has profound implications for the panspermia hypothesis. If life can spread from one planet to another, it suggests that life could be far more common in the universe than we once thought. Life may not be confined to one planet or even one star system, but could be scattered across the galaxy, carried by the very debris that collides with planets and moons. The role of comets and asteroids in seeding. Life comets and asteroids play a crucial role in the spread of life across the cosmos. These objects, often made of rock, ice, and organic compounds, can serve as vehicles for transporting life from one planet to another. Comets are thought to be some of the oldest objects in the solar system, containing primordial material from the early days of the solar system's formation. This means that comets and asteroids could contain not only the building blocks of life, such as amino acids and nucleotides, but also the seeds of life itself. Comets are also known to contain a rich mixture of organic compounds, including carbon-based molecules that are essential for life. The discovery of complex organic molecules in comets, such as glycine, an amino acid, suggests that these objects could be carrying the necessary ingredients for life across space. These organic compounds could be delivered to planets like Earth by comets, where they could eventually combine to form more complex structures and, ultimately, life. Meteorites, rocks that have fallen to Earth from space, have been found to contain a wide range of organic compounds. The Murchison meteorite, which fell in Australia in 1969, is one of the most famous meteorites to contain a rich mixture of amino acids, nucleic acids, and other essential organic molecules. These findings have provided critical evidence that life's building blocks are not unique to Earth, but are common throughout the solar system. The fact that these organic molecules can travel across space, carried on comets, asteroids, and meteoroids, suggests that life could spread from one world to another across vast distances. The cosmic distribution of life, a universal process. The idea that life can travel across space challenges the traditional view of life as a rare phenomenon. If life can survive the harsh conditions of space and travel between planets, it suggests that life is not unique to Earth, but may be widespread throughout the universe. The discovery of life's building blocks in meteorites, comets, and asteroids suggests that the ingredients for life are abundant in the cosmos, ready to take root on planets and moons that offer the right conditions. In this view, Earth is not the only planet where life can thrive. There may be countless other worlds scattered across the galaxy where life exists or could exist. Just as Earth was seeded with life from space, so too could other planets be seeded with the building blocks of life, waiting for the right conditions to allow life to emerge. The discovery of exoplanets, planets that orbit stars outside our solar system, has further expanded our understanding of the possibilities for life beyond Earth. Thousands of exoplanets have been discovered, many of which are located in the Goldilocks zone of their stars, where conditions are just right for liquid water to exist. These exoplanets may be prime candidates for the development of life, and the discovery of life on even one of them would have profound implications for our understanding of life in the universe. Conclusion: life as a cosmic phenomenon. The idea that life could travel across space and spread from one planet to another is a radical and exciting possibility. The evidence from extremophiles, the survival of life in space, and the organic compounds found in meteorites, comets, and asteroids all point to the idea that life is not confined to one planet but is a cosmic phenomenon. Life, it seems, is a universal process, traveling across the stars, carried by the very debris that shapes the cosmos. As we continue to explore the solar system and beyond, we are beginning to realize that Earth may not be the only planet where life exists. The search for life on Mars, Europa, Enceladus, and exoplanets continues to offer tantalizing possibilities. And as we search the stars for life, we may one day discover that life is not a rare accident, but a common thread that connects planets, moons, and stars across the universe. For millennia, humanity has looked to the stars with wonder and curiosity, asking one fundamental question: are we alone in the universe? The search for extraterrestrial life is as old as human civilization itself, but only in recent decades has it become a focus of scientific endeavor. As our technology advances and our understanding of the cosmos deepens, the search for life beyond Earth has transformed from a speculative quest into a full-fledged scientific exploration. The search for extraterrestrial life is no longer confined to science fiction or philosophical musings. It is one of the most exciting and transformative fields of modern science. Advances in astronomy, planetary science, and astrobiology are helping us answer some of the most profound questions about life's existence beyond Earth. Are there other civilizations out there? Could life exist on planets orbiting distant stars? How would the discovery of extraterrestrial life affect our understanding of biology, evolution, and the origins of life? In this chapter, we will explore the various ways in which scientists are searching for extraterrestrial life, the tools and technologies being used in the hunt for life, and the profound implications such a discovery could have for humanity. The search for life is not just about discovering alien organisms, it is about understanding our place in the cosmos and rethinking everything we know about life, its origins, and its future. The search begins. From ancient speculation to modern science. The question of whether life exists beyond Earth is as old as human civilization. Ancient cultures speculated about the existence of other worlds and other life forms. The ancient Greeks, for example, believed in the possibility of extraterrestrial life, with philosophers like Anaximander and Democritus positing that life might exist elsewhere in the cosmos. Yet, for centuries, the search for extraterrestrial life remained more of a philosophical or theological question than a scientific one. It wasn't until the 20th century that the search for life beyond Earth began to take on a more scientific character. With the advent of telescopes and the discovery of new planets, scientists began to take a more systematic approach to the question. The discovery of exoplanets, planets orbiting stars other than our Sun, has been one of the most exciting developments in the search for extraterrestrial life. Today, thousands of exoplanets have been discovered, many of which are located in the habitable zone of their stars, where conditions might be right for liquid water to exist. These exoplanets are prime candidates for the search for life, and many space missions are focused on studying these distant worlds for signs of biological activity. The search for life on Mars. One of the most compelling targets in the search for life beyond Earth is Mars. For centuries, Mars has been the subject of speculation about the possibility of life. In the late 19th century, astronomer Percival Lowell famously proposed the idea that Mars was home to an ancient civilization based on the observation of canals on the planet's surface. While Lowell's theory has since been debunked, the idea that Mars may have once harbored life has persisted. Mars is a prime target in the search for life because of the compelling evidence that it once had a much more Earth-like climate. Ancient riverbeds, lakebeds, and even possible evidence of ancient oceans have been discovered on Mars, suggesting that liquid water was once abundant on the planet. Water is essential for life as we know it, and the discovery of ancient water sources on Mars raises the possibility that microbial life once thrived there. NASA's Curiosity rover and Perseverance rover have been instrumental in studying Mars' surface and searching for signs of past or present life. In addition to finding organic molecules in the Martian soil, both rovers have identified minerals that form in the presence of water, further suggesting that Mars may have been habitable in the distant past. The Perseverance rover, which landed on Mars in 2021, is tasked with searching for signs of ancient microbial life, particularly in an area called Jezero Crater, which scientists believe may have once housed an ancient lake. The search for life on Mars is not just about finding evidence of past life. It's also about understanding whether life could still exist on Mars today, hidden beneath the surface in the planet's underground water reservoirs. Some scientists believe that Mars may still harbor microbial life in its subsurface, protected from the harsh radiation and extreme temperatures on the surface. The search for life on moons, Europa and Enceladus. While Mars is the most well-known target for the search for life, moons of giant planets in our solar system have also become prime candidates. Two moons, Europa, Jupiter, and Enceladus, Saturn, are considered some of the best places to search for life beyond Earth. Both moons harbor subsurface oceans beneath thick layers of ice, making them intriguing targets in the search for microbial life. Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, is covered by a thick icy crust, beneath which scientists believe lies a vast ocean of liquid water. Tidal forces from Jupiter's immense gravity cause Europa to stretch and flex, generating enough heat to keep the ocean beneath the ice liquid, despite the freezing temperatures of the surface. This process could create the perfect conditions for life, similar to Earth's deep-sea hydrothermal vents. Europa's ocean is in contact with the Moon's rocky mantle, providing a potential source of nutrients and minerals that could support life. NASA's upcoming Europa Clipper mission is designed to study the Moon in detail, analyzing its icy surface, measuring the thickness of the ice, and detecting the chemical composition of the water vapor plumes that erupt from the Moon's surface. Europa Clipper will help determine whether Europa's ocean could support life, and whether signs of life exist on this distant moon. Similarly, Enceladus, one of Saturn's moons, has been the focus of extensive study. In 2005, NASA's Cassini spacecraft detected plumes of water vapor and organic molecules erupting from Enceladus's surface, suggesting the presence of a subsurface ocean beneath its icy shell. Like Europa, Enceladus's ocean is thought to be in contact with the Moon's rocky interior, creating the potential for hydrothermal activity that could support microbial life. The Cassini mission also detected organic molecules in these plumes, further strengthening the idea that life could exist in the subsurface oceans of Enceladus. Both Europa and Enceladus provide compelling evidence that moons with subsurface oceans could harbor life, even in the absence of sunlight. These moons may be the best places to search for signs of extraterrestrial life, and future missions will continue to explore these distant worlds in hopes of answering one of humanity's most profound questions. Are we alone in the universe? The search for life in the cosmos. Exoplanets and beyond. Beyond our solar system, the search for life has expanded to exoplanets, planets that orbit stars outside of our solar system. With the discovery of thousands of exoplanets in recent years, astronomers are now focused on identifying planets that lie in the habitable zone of their stars. These planets are the most promising candidates for hosting life, as they are the right distance from their star to allow liquid water to exist on their surfaces. One of the most famous exoplanet discoveries is Kepler 452b, a planet that lies in the habitable zone of a star similar to our Sun. Kepler 452b is often referred to as Earth's cousin because of its similar size, temperature, and orbital distance from its star. While we don't know yet whether Kepler 452b has life, its discovery has sparked excitement about the possibility of finding other Earth-like planets in the galaxy. The James Webb Space Telescope, launched in 2021, will play a key role in the search for life on exoplanets. Equipped with advanced instruments that can analyze the atmospheres of distant planets, the James Webb Space Telescope will help scientists identify planets that may have the right conditions to support life. By studying the composition of exoplanet atmospheres, astronomers hope to detect gases such as oxygen and methane, which are often associated with biological activity. While the discovery of life on an exoplanet remains elusive, the increasing number of Earth-like planets in the habitable zones of distant stars raises the possibility that life may be widespread across the galaxy. The search for life beyond Earth is not just about finding alien organisms. It is about understanding our place in the universe and discovering the extent to which life is a universal phenomenon. The implications of finding extraterrestrial life. The discovery of extraterrestrial life would be one of the most profound scientific breakthroughs in history. It would challenge our understanding of biology, evolution, and our place in the cosmos. The implications of such a discovery are far-reaching, not just for science, but for philosophy, religion, and human culture. If life exists elsewhere in the universe, it would suggest that life is not a rare accident, but a common phenomenon that exists throughout the galaxy. It would change the way we think about life's origins, suggesting that life is not confined to Earth but is part of a larger cosmic process, and it would raise profound questions about the potential for intelligent life elsewhere in the universe. Are we alone in our quest to understand the cosmos, or are there other civilizations out there waiting to be discovered? For the Panspermia hypothesis, the discovery of extraterrestrial life would lend significant support to the idea that life is spread across the universe by cosmic forces. It would suggest that life is not isolated to any one planet, but is part of a vast cosmic network traveling across space, carried by asteroids, comets, and meteoroids from one world to another. Conclusion: the future of the search for life. The search for extraterrestrial life is one of humanity's most ambitious and transformative scientific endeavors. As our technology improves and our understanding of the universe deepens, the possibility of discovering life beyond Earth becomes more tangible. Whether in the subsurface oceans of Europa and Enceladus, on the surface of Mars, or in the atmospheres of distant exoplanets, the search for life continues to expand our understanding of the cosmos. The implications of finding extraterrestrial life would be profound, reshaping our view of the universe and our place within it. It would also reinforce the idea that life is a universal process spread across the stars, carried on comets, asteroids, and meteoroids. The discovery of extraterrestrial life would not only be a scientific milestone, but a momentous event in human history. one that would forever change the way we think about life, the universe, and our future in the cosmos. The question of whether we are alone in the universe has captivated human imagination for millennia. As we look to the stars, we now realize that we are on the brink of a new era in the search for life, an era where humanity might play an active role in the cosmic distribution of life itself. The idea of panspermia, that life can spread across the stars carried by comets, asteroids, and meteoroids, suggests that life might be a widespread phenomenon, not confined to Earth, but instead part of a larger cosmic cycle. But could humanity itself be a part of this process? Could we one day become the cosmic gardeners, intentionally spreading life to other planets and moons, ensuring the continuation of life beyond Earth? As space exploration technology advances and our understanding of biology deepens, the possibility of direct panspermia, the intentional seeding of life on other planets, becomes increasingly feasible. But what does it mean for humanity to be involved in such a monumental task? Could we, as a species, become responsible for planting the seeds of life on distant planets, creating ecosystems that could one day evolve into thriving worlds of their own? And what ethical considerations come with this power? In this chapter, we will explore the growing potential for humanity to play an active role in spreading life beyond Earth. We will look at the technological advancements that could make this possible, the scientific and ethical challenges that come with it, and the philosophical implications of becoming cosmic seeders. Could we be on the verge of expanding life across the stars, and what would this mean for our future as a species? Humanity's vision: spreading life across the stars. For centuries, humans have looked at the vastness of space and wondered if we could one day reach beyond our own planet. Space exploration, once the domain of science fiction, is now becoming a reality. With each new mission to the Moon, Mars, and beyond, humanity is inching closer to the day when we could send life to other worlds. As we continue to explore the outer reaches of our solar system and beyond, we may eventually encounter planets and moons that have the conditions necessary to support life, or we may find ways to create life in new environments, fostering ecosystems on planets that were once thought to be uninhabitable. The idea of space colonization, establishing permanent human settlements on planets and moons, has been discussed for decades. Mars has long been the prime target for human colonization due to its similarities to Earth and its potential for supporting life. Elon Musk's SpaceX aims to send humans to Mars within the next few decades, with the goal of establishing a self-sustaining colony. But while the colonization of Mars might be a significant achievement for humanity, it raises deeper questions. What if, instead of just settling on Mars, we could use our technologies and knowledge to intentionally seed life on Mars? What if, instead of merely becoming visitors on a new world, we could create life where it never existed? In this scenario, humanity would not just be looking for signs of life elsewhere, but actively creating life. By sending life's building blocks, microbial life, plant seeds, or engineered organisms, to planets and moons with the potential to sustain them, we could begin the process of turning lifeless worlds into vibrant ecosystems. Just as comets and meteoroids are believed to have brought the building blocks of life to Earth, humanity could play an active role in spreading life across the cosmos. Technologies for cosmic seeding. The idea of seeding life on other planets may sound like science fiction, but in reality it's becoming increasingly plausible due to the rapid advancement of technology. One of the key components of this endeavor is the development of space travel technologies that can transport materials and life itself across vast distances in space. Space propulsion systems, such as nuclear thermal propulsion, ion drives, and solar sails, are being developed to make long-duration space travel more efficient and feasible. With these advancements, we could one day send spacecraft to distant planets and moons, carrying life or its building blocks to new worlds. The ability to transport life across the stars would mark a new era in space exploration and interplanetary colonization. In addition to propulsion, biotechnology will play a critical role in humanity's efforts to spread life beyond Earth. Scientists are already working on ways to engineer microorganisms that can survive in extreme environments, such as those on Mars or Europa. For instance, extremophils, organisms that can withstand extreme temperatures, radiation, and other harsh conditions, are being studied for their potential use in space missions. By engineering extremophils that can survive on Mars, Europa, or other planets, humanity could kickstart the process of creating ecosystems from scratch. Additionally, biodomes and closed-loop life support systems are being developed to support human colonies on other planets. These systems could also be used to support the introduction of life to new worlds, creating self-sustaining environments that allow plants, microorganisms, and animals to thrive in otherwise inhospitable locations. These technologies would not only support human life, but could also serve as the foundation for seeding life on a planetary scale. Pioneering life on Mars. Mars is one of the most promising locations for the potential for life beyond Earth. The Mars 1 mission and NASA's Artemis program are working toward sending humans to Mars with the goal of establishing a sustainable colony. But beyond just colonizing Mars, scientists and engineers are considering how we could use terraforming techniques to make the planet more hospitable. While terraforming is still a long way from being feasible, the idea of altering Mars's atmosphere, temperature, and surface conditions to make it more Earth-like is a tantalizing possibility. In the early stages of Mars colonization, humans could bring microbial life to the planet to begin the process of transforming its atmosphere and surface. Microorganisms such as cyanobacteria and algae could be used to produce oxygen through photosynthesis, creating a breathable atmosphere over time. This process, known as biological terraforming, could be the first step toward making Mars a more Earth-like environment, capable of supporting human life and other forms of life. In addition to microorganisms, humans could introduce plant seeds to Mars, enabling the growth of vegetation that could further contribute to the creation of an Earth-like atmosphere. The process of seeding life on Mars would require significant scientific research and careful planning to ensure that the new life could survive the harsh Martian environment. But the goal isn't just to create life on Mars. It's about ensuring that life can thrive and evolve there. If life can take root on Mars, it could eventually give rise to new ecosystems, with plants, animals, and microorganisms all playing their part in maintaining a balanced, self-sustaining environment. By seeding Mars with life, humanity could initiate a new chapter in the cosmic journey of life, taking an active role in spreading life across the universe. Ethical considerations and the cosmic responsibility. While the idea of seeding life on other planets is exciting, it also raises profound ethical questions. Should humanity have the right to introduce life to other worlds, especially when we do not fully understand the consequences? Could the introduction of Earth-based life to other planets interfere with any potential native ecosystems that may exist or may have existed on those worlds? If life does exist elsewhere in the solar system, are we responsible for protecting it, or is it our duty to help it evolve? These questions are part of the growing conversation about the ethics of space exploration. As we prepare to venture further into the cosmos, we must consider the potential impact of our actions on the worlds we explore. Introducing life to other planets could have unintended consequences, both for the native environments and for the ecosystems we create. The planetary protection protocols established by space agencies like NASA and the European Space Agency, ESA, are designed to prevent contamination of other worlds by Earth's microbes, ensuring that we do not inadvertently destroy any native life or ecosystems that may exist on other planets. The responsibility of spreading life beyond Earth also requires careful consideration. As stewards of our planet, should we ensure that we are ready to act responsibly in our role as cosmic seeders? Should we only introduce life to worlds that are truly hospitable? And should we ensure that the ecosystems we create are sustainable and balanced? Direct panspermia and the future of life in the universe. The idea of direct panspermia, the intentional seeding of life on other planets by advanced civilizations, raises the possibility that humanity's role in the cosmic spread of life is part of a larger process. If extraterrestrial civilizations seeded life on Earth or other planets, could we be the next civilization in this cycle, tasked with continuing the cosmic distribution of life? As we continue to explore space, humanity's role in the spread of life could become one of the most important missions of the future. By sending life to other planets and moons, we could ensure the continuation of life across the universe, creating a cosmic network of life that spans the stars. The question is not whether life can spread across the cosmos, but whether humanity will play a role in making it happen. Conclusion: a cosmic journey. The idea of seeding life on other planets is one of the most profound and ambitious goals in the history of humanity. As our technology advances, we are moving closer to the possibility of spreading life beyond Earth. Whether it's through the creation of self-sustaining ecosystems on Mars, the study of extremophiles, or the use of advanced space propulsion systems, humanity is positioning itself to become an active participant in the cosmic journey of life. As we prepare to venture into the stars, we must also consider the ethical implications of our actions and our role as stewards of life on other worlds. The question of life beyond Earth is not just a scientific one. It is a philosophical and ethical inquiry that will shape the future of humanity. As we continue our journey across the cosmos, we must ask ourselves, are we ready to take on the responsibility of spreading life, ensuring its survival and evolution, and becoming part of a larger cosmic cycle of life that stretches across the stars? The search for extraterrestrial life is more than just a scientific endeavor. It is a philosophical and existential journey that forces us to confront some of the most profound questions about life, existence, and our place in the cosmos. For centuries, humans have looked to the stars with awe and wonder, asking whether we are alone in the universe. As we continue our exploration of space, we are on the verge of answering that question. But the discovery of life beyond Earth, whether microbial or intelligent, will not just expand our understanding of biology and evolution, it will radically alter our understanding of the cosmos and our place within it. If life is a universal phenomenon spread across the stars, then humanity's existence is not a rare or unique event. Instead, we are part of a much larger cosmic story, one that spans billions of years and stretches across the vast expanse of the universe. But what does it mean for humanity to be part of this grand cosmic cycle? And how would our understanding of life change if we were to find that life is widespread, flourishing on planets and moons throughout the galaxy? The implications of life being a universal phenomenon extend far beyond science. They touch on existential, philosophical, and ethical questions about our place in the universe, our future as a species, and the responsibility we bear in spreading life across the stars. In this chapter, we will explore these profound questions and examine how the discovery of extraterrestrial life would shape humanity's future, both in terms of our identity and our destiny. Life beyond Earth. A universal phenomenon. For centuries, Earth has been regarded as the only home to life in the universe. Our planet's unique conditions, its atmosphere, its oceans, its magnetic field, have long made us believe that Earth is a rare oasis in an otherwise barren cosmos. But as our understanding of the universe has deepened, so too has the realization that Earth may not be as unique as we once thought. The discovery of exoplanets, planets that orbit stars other than our Sun, has shown that there are billions of worlds in our galaxy alone, many of which are located in the Goldilocks zone of their stars, where conditions are just right for liquid water to exist. The possibility that these planets could harbor life has opened up a new frontier in the search for extraterrestrial life. The discovery of organic molecules in comets, asteroids, and meteorites, as well as the evidence of water on moons like Europa and Enceladus, suggests that life's building blocks are widespread throughout the solar system and beyond. If life is not confined to Earth, but is instead a common feature of the universe, then we may be part of a much larger cosmic web, one in which life exists on countless worlds, waiting for the right conditions to take root and evolve. This realization has profound implications. If life is a universal phenomenon, then it raises the question, what does that mean for humanity? Are we simply one example of a much larger cosmic process, one that spans across the stars, or do we play a more significant role in the evolution of life in the universe? And what happens when we begin to recognize that life, intelligent, microbial, or otherwise, is a common feature of the cosmos, stretching across planets, moons, and distant star systems? Humans in the cosmic network. A universal role. If life is indeed a universal phenomenon, then humanity is not an isolated fluke of nature. Our existence is part of a larger cosmic cycle that spans the universe. Just as life on Earth evolved over billions of years, life on other planets, whether microbial or intelligent, could have followed a similar path. And just as Earth's biodiversity is the result of billions of years of evolutionary history, so too could the ecosystems of other worlds be the result of similar processes. The universe is not a cold, empty void, but a living, dynamic network where life spreads from one world to another, carried on comets, asteroids, and meteoroids. But humanity's role in this cosmic network remains uncertain. Are we simply an advanced civilization born out of the conditions on Earth? Or could we play an active role in the larger cosmic cycle, ensuring the survival and spread of life across the stars? As we continue to explore space and push the boundaries of what is possible, humanity is beginning to realize that we are not just passive observers of the universe, but active participants in its evolution. This realization has led some scientists and thinkers to propose that humanity's role in the cosmos is not simply to study and understand life, but to propagate it, becoming part of a cosmic network that spreads life from one planet to another. The Panspermia hypothesis suggests that life could be intentionally seeded across the universe by advanced civilizations or by natural processes, and humanity could one day play a central role in this process. The idea of direct panspermia, the intentional spreading of life from one planet to another, is no longer confined to the realm of science fiction. With advances in space travel, biotechnology, and astrobiology, the possibility that humanity could one day become cosmic gardeners, seeding life on distant planets and moons, is becoming increasingly plausible. The ethics of cosmic seeding. As humanity looks to the stars and imagines a future where we actively spread life across the universe, ethical questions arise. What are the ethical implications of introducing life to other worlds? If we are responsible for seeding life on planets, moons, and exoplanets, what responsibilities do we have to those ecosystems? Should we be careful about the life forms we introduce to these worlds, ensuring that we do not interfere with potential native life? What happens if we introduce life to a planet that already has its own ecosystems, or if we introduce life in a way that could disrupt the natural balance of that world? The ethics of space exploration and cosmic seeding will be a critical consideration as humanity pushes forward in its quest to spread life beyond Earth. Just as we protect Earth's environment and biodiversity, we must also consider the potential consequences of introducing life to other worlds. These questions are at the heart of the planetary protection protocols developed by organizations like NASA and the European Space Agency, ESA, which are designed to ensure that we do not contaminate other planets with Earth's microorganisms or inadvertently harm any potential native life forms. As we explore the universe and seek to spread life beyond Earth, we must also ask ourselves, are we ready for the responsibility of becoming cosmic seeders? What would it mean for humanity to take on this role, and how would it shape our identity as a species? The search for meaning. What does the discovery of life beyond Earth mean for humanity? The discovery of extraterrestrial life would fundamentally alter humanity's understanding of the universe. For centuries, humans have viewed ourselves as the center of life in the cosmos, the pinnacle of biological evolution. But the discovery that life exists elsewhere would force us to rethink our place in the universe. Are we the result of a rare random accident, or are we part of a much larger cosmic process that spans the stars? For many, the discovery of life beyond Earth would be both humbling and liberating. It would suggest that we are not alone in the universe, and that life is not a rare or unique phenomenon. Instead, life is part of a larger cosmic cycle, one that is constantly evolving, spreading across planets, moons, and distant star systems. The realization that life is widespread across the universe could lead to a profound shift in our worldview, one in which humanity is no longer at the center of the universe, but instead a part of a much larger, interconnected cosmic network. The discovery of extraterrestrial life could also force us to confront some of life's deepest questions. What is the purpose of life? How did life begin? How do we fit into the larger tapestry of existence? If life is widespread across the cosmos, it suggests that life may be more than just a series of chemical reactions. It could be part of a larger cosmic plan, one that spans the universe and has existed for billions of years. And if life is a universal phenomenon, it suggests that life itself is a fundamental part of the fabric of the universe, an essential process that continues across time and space. The future of humanity in the cosmos. As we look to the stars and imagine a future where humanity spreads life across the universe, we must consider the long-term implications of this cosmic journey. Will humanity become a part of the cosmic web, seeding life on distant planets and moons? Will we continue to explore the universe, searching for signs of life and our place in the larger cosmic story? The next chapter in the history of life on Earth and in the cosmos has yet to be written, but humanity's role in that story is becoming increasingly clear. In the coming centuries, as our technology advances and our understanding of biology deepens, humanity may play a pivotal role in ensuring the survival and spread of life across the stars. Whether through space colonization, biological terraforming, or the intentional seeding of life on other planets, humanity could one day become a cosmic gardener responsible for the propagation of life across the universe. But with this power comes great responsibility. As we venture further into the cosmos, we must consider the ethical implications of our actions and the long-term impact of spreading life beyond Earth. As humanity stands on the threshold of space exploration, we face a future filled with possibilities that were once the realm of science fiction. The next great leap for our species is not just to explore distant worlds, but to become active participants in the cosmic spread of life. This is not a mere fantasy. It is becoming an increasingly plausible reality, driven by advances in space travel, biotechnology, and astrobiology. Humanity's potential to seed life on other planets and become part of the larger cosmic cycle is an exciting and transformative prospect. As we look to the future, we must consider how humanity will use its growing technological capabilities to spread life across the universe. The search for habitable planets, the ability to travel to distant star systems, and the capacity to create life-sustaining environments will open up new frontiers for exploration. But this journey is not just about reaching other planets. It is about making life a universal phenomenon, spreading life from one world to another, from star system to star system, ensuring the continuation of biological processes across the cosmos. In this chapter, we will explore the technologies and scientific breakthroughs that will enable humanity to become an active participant in the cosmic distribution of life. We will discuss the possibilities of space colonization, terraforming, and biological engineering. We will also examine the ethical challenges and philosophical questions that arise as humanity takes on the responsibility of spreading life beyond Earth and what this means for our future as a species. The technologies that will define humanity's future in space. Humanity's future in space will be shaped by the technologies we develop to travel through the cosmos, explore distant worlds, and create self-sustaining ecosystems. Space travel technology is advancing at an unprecedented rate, and the dream of reaching other planets is becoming increasingly feasible. In the coming decades, advancements in propulsion systems, life support technologies, and biotechnology will enable us to explore not just our solar system, but potentially the stars beyond. One of the most critical advancements needed for humanity's expansion into space is the development of propulsion technologies that can enable long-duration space travel. Currently, most space missions are limited to the inner solar system, with missions to Mars and Venus taking years to complete. However, new propulsion systems such as nuclear thermal propulsion, ion drives, and solar sails are being developed to significantly reduce travel times and make interstellar travel possible. Nuclear thermal propulsion, NTP, uses nuclear reactions to heat a propellant, providing a highly efficient method of propulsion for deep space travel. This technology could cut travel times to Mars and other planets from months to weeks, making human colonization of Mars more feasible. Ion drives, which use electrically charged ions for propulsion, are already being used on some spacecraft and have the potential to allow for more efficient long-duration space missions. One of the most exciting developments in space travel technology is the concept of solar sails, which use the pressure of sunlight to propel a spacecraft across vast distances. Solar sails could allow for low-cost, long-duration missions to distant stars, opening up the possibility of exploring planets beyond our solar system and potentially finding life on exoplanets. These propulsion technologies will play a pivotal role in humanity's ability to spread life beyond Earth. The development of faster, more efficient propulsion systems will allow us to reach distant planets, moons, and even exoplanets, worlds that were once beyond our reach. Space colonization. Building self-sustaining ecosystems. As humanity reaches further into space, one of the most significant challenges we will face is the creation of self-sustaining ecosystems on other planets and moons. The process of terraforming, modifying the environment of a planet to make it more Earth-like, is one potential pathway to creating life-supporting environments on distant worlds. But even before terraforming becomes a reality, humanity will need to create habitats that can support life in hostile environments. In the case of Mars, scientists have proposed the concept of creating biodomes, enclosed habitats that would provide a controlled environment for plants, animals, and humans. These biodomes could be equipped with closed-loop life support systems that recycle air, water, and nutrients, much like Earth's ecosystems. In these habitats, humans could grow food, produce oxygen, and maintain a livable environment for themselves and other life forms. Biological terraforming could also play a role in humanity's efforts to create life-supporting environments on other planets. By introducing engineered microorganisms or extremophiles that can survive in harsh conditions, we could begin the process of modifying the atmosphere or surface of a planet to make it more hospitable. For example, cyanobacteria could be used to produce oxygen through photosynthesis, helping to create an atmosphere that could support human life. In addition to Mars, moons such as Europa, Enceladus, and Titan are also considered potential candidates for colonization. These moons have subsurface oceans or lakes, and with the right technologies, humanity could create habitats beneath their icy surfaces. Using subterranean habitats, humans could live and thrive on these moons, tapping into the resources available in their underground oceans. As space colonization becomes a reality, the idea of spreading life to new worlds will take on greater significance. Instead of simply settling on other planets, humanity could become the architects of ecosystems, responsible for introducing life, nurturing its growth, and ensuring its sustainability. Biotechnology, engineering life for space. One of the most important tools in humanity's quest to spread life beyond Earth is biotechnology. As we learn more about the molecular biology of life, we are increasingly able to engineer organisms that can survive in extreme environments that would be hostile to most Earth-based life forms. This includes engineering extremophiles, organisms that thrive in conditions such as extreme heat, cold, radiation, and salinity, and adapting them for use in space exploration. The ability to engineer life forms that can survive in extraterrestrial environments will be crucial for space colonization. For example, scientists are already working on genetically modified plants that can grow in the harsh conditions of Mars. These plants could be used to produce oxygen, food, and other resources, helping to create self-sustaining ecosystems in space. Similarly, microbial life could be engineered to break down rocks and release minerals that could be used for construction or resource extraction. Biotechnology will also play a key role in space farming. the cultivation of food in space. Scientists are already experimenting with growing crops in zero-gravity environments aboard the International Space Station, ISS. In the future, these technologies could allow for the cultivation of crops on the surface of Mars or other planets, providing food for colonists and helping to establish sustainable ecosystems in space. The ethical considerations of cosmic seeding. As humanity looks toward spreading life beyond Earth, it must also grapple with a host of ethical considerations. If we are to introduce life to other worlds, what responsibilities do we have to those ecosystems? Could our actions disrupt any potential native life that might exist on these worlds, or could we inadvertently harm the ecosystems we are trying to create? The idea of planetary protection, ensuring that we do not contaminate other planets with Earth-based microbes, has been a key focus of space agencies like NASA. Planetary protection protocols are designed to prevent contamination of extraterrestrial environments and to protect any potential native life forms that may exist on other planets or moons. As we work to spread life across the cosmos, we must consider how to balance our desire to create new ecosystems with the need to preserve the integrity of those worlds. Furthermore, we must ask ourselves, are we ready for the responsibility of becoming cosmic gardeners? What happens if we inadvertently introduce life to a planet that isn't ready for it? Should we be careful about the organisms we send, ensuring that we do not introduce invasive species that could disrupt local ecosystems? These ethical questions will shape the future of space exploration and cosmic seeding, and they will require careful thought and consideration as we expand humanity's reach into the cosmos. Humanity's legacy. Becoming part of the cosmic cycle. The idea of spreading life across the stars challenges humanity to think about our place in the universe in new ways. We are not just passengers on a world that happens to be in the Goldilocks zone of our star. Instead, we have the potential to become active participants in the cosmic network of life, spreading life from one world to another, ensuring that life continues across the stars. Humanity's role in this cosmic journey will be profound. As we explore space and colonize new worlds, we may find ourselves taking on the responsibility of nurturing life, protecting ecosystems, and ensuring the survival of life beyond Earth. In doing so, we will be part of a much larger cosmic cycle, one that spans billions of years, stretches across the stars, and ensures the continuity of life in the universe. This legacy of spreading life, creating ecosystems, and becoming cosmic gardeners could define humanity's place in the cosmos. As we expand our reach into space, we must ask ourselves, what kind of future do we want to create, and how will our role in the cosmic cycle of life shape the future of the universe? Conclusion. The endless frontier. The future of life in the universe is boundless. As humanity moves beyond Earth, the possibilities for space exploration, colonization, and cosmic seeding are endless. The next great frontier is not just about discovering new planets or settling on Mars. It is about ensuring that life continues to evolve and spread across the stars, carried by the very forces that shape the cosmos. As we embark on this journey, we must be mindful of the responsibilities we carry with us, the ethical challenges, the scientific hurdles, and the philosophical questions that will shape the future of life in the universe. Humanity's role as cosmic gardeners, spreading life across the stars, is both a privilege and a responsibility. The universe is vast, but with each new step we take, we are closer to understanding our place in the cosmos and ensuring that life continues to thrive for millennia to come. As humanity pushes further into the cosmos, seeking to explore new worlds, colonize distant planets, and potentially spread life beyond Earth, we are confronted with a question that is as old as civilization itself. What is our responsibility to the universe? This question takes on new significance as we contemplate humanity's future role as active participants in the cosmic cycle of life. Our potential to spread life across the stars raises fundamental ethical, philosophical, and existential considerations about our place in the universe and the legacy we wish to leave behind. The idea that we, as a species, could become the cosmic gardeners, spreading life from one world to another, carries immense responsibility. If we are to introduce life to new worlds, we must consider the potential consequences, not only for the ecosystems we create, but for the broader cosmic ecosystem in which we exist. Will we be wise stewards of life, nurturing it with care and respect, or will we act recklessly, altering the balance of nature in ways we cannot foresee? The decisions we make now will shape not only our future, but the future of life in the cosmos. In this chapter, we will explore the philosophical and ethical dimensions of humanity's role in spreading life across the universe. We will discuss what it means to be stewards of life, the responsibilities that come with this role, and how these decisions will shape the future of life in the universe. As we take on the mantle of cosmic responsibility, we must ask ourselves, are we ready for this great task? And what does our role in the universe mean for the survival and flourishing of life beyond Earth? Humanity as stewards of life. For most of history, humanity has been primarily concerned with our role on Earth, our stewardship of the environment, our responsibility to future generations, and our obligations to protect and preserve the biodiversity of our planet. However, as we expand our horizons and begin to explore space, our responsibilities are growing beyond Earth. As we seek to colonize other planets and moons, we must confront the possibility that we may become the stewards of life in the cosmos. This responsibility is not just about ensuring that we bring life to new worlds, it is also about understanding the consequences of our actions. Every decision we make about how to spread life across the universe will have long-term implications, not just for the ecosystems we create, but for the integrity of the cosmos itself. If we spread life recklessly or without consideration, we could disrupt delicate cosmic balances, just as introducing invasive species on Earth has often led to ecological destruction. As stewards of life, we must take great care to understand the environments we are entering and ensure that we are introducing life in ways that will be sustainable, responsible, and ethical. This will require not only scientific expertise, but moral wisdom. The choices we make will determine whether we contribute to the flourishing of life in the cosmos, or whether we bring about unintended consequences that disrupt the balance of nature. The ethics of terraforming and cosmic seeding. One of the key aspects of humanity's role as stewards of life in the universe is the potential for terraforming, the process of altering the environment of another planet to make it habitable for Earth-like life. While the concept of terraforming has long been a subject of science fiction, recent advancements in technology and our growing understanding of planetary science suggest that it may one day be possible to alter the atmosphere, temperature, and surface conditions of planets like Mars or Venus to create environments that could support life. But terraforming raises significant ethical questions. If we terraform a planet, are we essentially claiming ownership of that world? Are we entitled to change its environment and introduce life, even if it means wiping out any potential native life that may exist? And what if the planet already has a unique ecosystem adapted to its harsh conditions? Could we inadvertently destroy this ecosystem in our attempt to create one that is more familiar to us? In the case of Mars, for example, while it is widely believed that Mars was once home to liquid water and may have supported microbial life in its past, the question remains whether life ever existed there, and whether it could exist again. Introducing Earth-based life to Mars could potentially interfere with any future discoveries of native life, should it exist beneath the surface or in hidden pockets of water. As stewards of life, we must balance our desire to spread life with our responsibility to protect any potential life that may already exist on other planets. Similarly, when it comes to direct panspermia, where we intentionally spread life by seeding other planets with microorganisms, we must carefully consider the ethical implications of introducing Earth-based life to a world that may already have its own conditions and evolutionary history. Are we right to impose life upon planets and moons where it does not naturally exist? Or should we respect the unique nature of these worlds, leaving them untouched by human interference? The ethical dilemmas associated with terraforming and cosmic seeding are complex and will require careful thought, global cooperation, and deep philosophical reflection. As we continue to explore space, we must recognize that we are not only scientists and explorers, but also custodians of life, with the power to shape the future of ecosystems across the universe. Philosophical implications: humanity's role in the cosmic cycle. As we expand our understanding of the universe and our role in it, we are confronted with the philosophical implications of life's spread across the stars. If life is a universal phenomenon, spread from one planet to another across galaxies and star systems, what does that mean for our understanding of existence itself? Are we simply one link in an endless chain of life, or do we have a special role to play in the cosmic cycle? One of the most profound questions is whether humanity's rise and potential to spread life are part of a grand cosmic plan. Are we destined to play a pivotal role in the evolution of life across the universe, spreading life from one world to another? Or are we merely a product of chance, an accident of nature in a universe that is indifferent to our existence? These questions touch on the deepest aspects of human existence, challenging our views on the meaning of life, our purpose in the cosmos, and the broader significance of our species. If we are part of a larger cosmic cycle, then our role is not just to explore and colonize other worlds, but to ensure that life continues and flourishes across the stars. Our responsibility extends beyond the boundaries of Earth to the entire cosmos. In this sense, humanity's destiny is not just tied to our survival on Earth, but to the survival and expansion of life itself, a duty to preserve and propagate life across the universe, creating ecosystems that will continue to evolve long after we are gone. The challenges of cosmic seeding. As we take on the mantle of cosmic seeders, we must also recognize the challenges involved in this monumental task. One of the most significant challenges will be the technological barriers that must be overcome. Currently, we are far from having the ability to send large-scale life-seeding missions across the stars. Technologies for interstellar travel, life support systems for long-term space missions, and biological engineering are still in the early stages of development. Even with the growing capabilities of space agencies like NASA, ESA, and private companies like SpaceX, we are still many years away from being able to send life to other star systems. Moreover, we must also consider the biological challenges of spreading life. While we can engineer microorganisms to survive in space and harsh environments, the introduction of life to new planets will require careful planning to ensure that the ecosystems we create are sustainable and self-sustaining. There will be challenges in finding planets that have the right conditions for life to take root, and we must also account for the possibility that life may evolve differently on other planets, leading to unforeseen consequences. Another challenge is the ethical dilemma of potentially disrupting any native ecosystems that may exist on other worlds. As we venture further into space, we must respect the integrity of other planets, moons, and ecosystems, ensuring that we do not inadvertently destroy any potential life or damage the natural processes of these worlds. Our role as stewards of life means that we must act with wisdom, caution, and respect as we continue our exploration of the cosmos. The legacy of humanity's cosmic responsibility. The legacy of humanity's role in the cosmos will depend on how we rise to the challenge of spreading life beyond Earth. If we succeed, we could play a key role in ensuring the survival and expansion of life across the universe, ensuring that life continues to thrive for billions of years to come. But this responsibility is not one to be taken lightly. As we venture into the stars, we must ask ourselves, are we ready for the responsibility of cosmic seeding? Are we prepared to be stewards of life across the cosmos, ensuring that life continues to evolve, adapt, and flourish in new worlds? The answers to these questions will shape humanity's place in the universe and define the future of life in the cosmos. We are not just explorers of new worlds, we are the stewards of life's journey across the stars. Conclusion: humanity's cosmic mission. As we stand on the threshold of space exploration, humanity's mission is clear. We are not just here to explore the stars, but to ensure that life continues to thrive across the universe. Our journey as cosmic seeders is just beginning. The challenges are immense, but the potential rewards are even greater. By spreading life beyond Earth, we can ensure that life will persist across the cosmos, even if our planet is no longer able to support it. In doing so, we fulfill our role in the grand cosmic cycle of life, a cycle that stretches across the stars and ensures that life, in all its forms, will continue to evolve and flourish long after we are gone. The cosmic responsibility of life is a duty we must embrace with care, wisdom, and humility. The future of life in the universe depends on us, and we must rise to the challenge. The search for extraterrestrial life has been a driving force in science and philosophy for centuries, but the discovery of life beyond Earth would be an event that goes far beyond scientific achievement. It would represent a profound shift in humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. For millennia, humans have been the sole known bearers of intelligence and life in the cosmos, but this understanding could be shattered by the revelation that we are not alone. Such a discovery would force humanity to confront deep existential and philosophical questions. How does the existence of extraterrestrial life change our perception of our significance in the grand scheme of things? What does it mean to be human when we are no longer the only known form of intelligent life in the universe? How do our cultural, religious, and ethical systems adapt to this new reality? In this chapter, we will explore the impact of discovering extraterrestrial life on human identity. We will examine how such a discovery would challenge our perceptions of ourselves, our place in the universe, and the nature of life itself. From reshaping philosophical beliefs to challenging religious doctrines and cultural norms, the discovery of extraterrestrial life would force humanity to confront its deepest assumptions about the meaning of life, our purpose, and the future of our species. The crisis of human centrality. For centuries, humanity has seen itself as the pinnacle of creation in the cosmos. This view, deeply rooted in both scientific anthropocentrism and religious teachings, has shaped much of human history. Our beliefs about the world, our place in the universe, and our relationship with nature have all been built on the assumption that humanity is special, unique, and perhaps even central to the workings of the cosmos. The discovery of extraterrestrial life, whether microbial or intelligent, would fundamentally challenge this view. It would no longer be possible to think of Earth and humanity as the only corner of the universe where life exists. For some, this realization could cause a crisis of identity, forcing us to reconsider our role in the larger cosmic order. In some ways, the discovery of extraterrestrial life would force us to relinquish our centuries-old sense of human centrality. The idea that humans are the most intelligent or significant life form in the universe would no longer hold. We would have to acknowledge that other civilizations, potentially older and more advanced than ours, might exist in distant corners of the galaxy. Our long-held belief that humanity is at the pinnacle of creation could no longer stand in the face of overwhelming evidence that life, and potentially intelligence, exists elsewhere. But while this loss of human centrality could be unsettling, it also presents an opportunity for growth. By recognizing that life is more widespread than we thought, humanity could adopt a more humble and expansive view of its place in the universe. We would no longer see ourselves as the only intelligent beings in existence, but as part of a vast, interconnected web of life that spans the stars. Philosophical implications. Rethinking the nature of life. The discovery of extraterrestrial life would force a radical rethinking of the nature of life itself. For millennia, we have defined life based on the conditions we know. Earthly life that is carbon-based, relies on water, and is subject to biological processes like evolution. But if extraterrestrial life is discovered, we may have to broaden our understanding of what constitutes life. Could life exist in forms radically different from those we know? Could there be life based on silicon instead of carbon? Could life thrive in environments that are inhospitable to Earth-based organisms, such as the high-pressure depths of Venus's atmosphere or the icy moons of Jupiter and Saturn? The discovery of life elsewhere would challenge the very definition of life, forcing us to consider possibilities that are currently unimaginable. We may also have to reconsider the idea of intelligence. If intelligent life is discovered on other planets, we would have to confront the question, what does it mean to be intelligent? For centuries, humans have assumed that our cognitive abilities, our reasoning, language, and technological achievements are what make us uniquely intelligent. But if we discover other intelligent species, we may find that intelligence takes on many different forms, shaped by the conditions of each world. The very notion of intelligence, its definition, its criteria, and its significance could be turned on its head. Religious and cultural reactions, the impact on human belief systems. The discovery of extraterrestrial life would also have profound implications for religious and cultural systems around the world. For centuries, many religious doctrines have emphasized the unique status of humanity as the crowning achievement of divine creation. The Bible, for instance, presents humanity as created in the image of God and as the steward of Earth's creation. The discovery that other forms of life exist, perhaps even other intelligent civilizations, would challenge these teachings, potentially altering religious views about humanity's place in the divine order. The Christian worldview, for example, has often seen Earth as the center of God's creation, with humanity at the pinnacle of divine purpose. If life is found elsewhere, some theologians might argue that this discovery could undermine the concept of human exceptionalism. Others might interpret it as evidence that God's creation is broader and more diverse than previously imagined. New religious interpretations and frameworks could emerge to accommodate the idea of extraterrestrial life, perhaps suggesting that other life forms have their own relationship with the divine. Similarly, other religions might interpret the discovery of extraterrestrial life in different ways. For example, in some Eastern spiritual traditions, life is seen as a continuous cycle of rebirth and transformation, where all beings, human or otherwise, are interconnected. The discovery of alien life might be embraced as part of a greater cosmic unity, with the realization that humanity is one small part of a vast interconnected web of life. In both cases, the existence of extraterrestrial life would prompt a reassessment of the human relationship with the divine, with other creatures, and with the universe itself. The challenge would not be to deny or reject religious teachings, but to reconcile them with the new reality that humanity is not alone in the universe. Ethical considerations. Our responsibility to extraterrestrial life. As we begin to explore the possibility of encountering or interacting with extraterrestrial life, we must also consider the ethical responsibilities that come with such an encounter. How should we treat alien life forms? Should we explore them, study them, or seek to communicate with them? What rights, if any, would extraterrestrial beings have, and what responsibilities would we have toward them? One of the most pressing ethical questions would be how to approach alien civilizations, especially if they are technologically advanced. Would humanity seek to make peaceful contact, or would there be fears of exploitation, colonization, or conflict? The history of contact between human civilizations on Earth has often been marked by violence and exploitation, and we must ask ourselves, can we do better in our approach to extraterrestrial life? Furthermore, should we consider the impact of contact on the alien civilizations we might encounter? What if an advanced civilization is living in harmony with its environment and its own form of life, and our arrival disrupts their society or their ecosystems? Just as we have ethical concerns about our treatment of animals and ecosystems on Earth, we will need to develop new frameworks for considering the well-being of extraterrestrial life. The discovery of extraterrestrial life would force humanity to grapple with these ethical challenges and redefine its role as part of a larger galactic community. If we are part of a universal web of life, how can we ensure that our actions do not harm others, either intentionally or unintentionally? The psychological impact. Reconceiving humanity's place in the universe. On a psychological level, the discovery of extraterrestrial life would have profound effects on human consciousness. For centuries, humanity has grappled with the idea of cosmic isolation, the belief that we are alone in the vast, seemingly infinite universe. This belief has shaped much of human culture, philosophy, and existential thought. The discovery that life exists beyond Earth, would challenge this idea of isolation and force us to reconsider our place in the cosmos. Some people might experience a sense of humility and connection, realizing that life is part of a larger cosmic process. The discovery of alien life might help us see ourselves not as isolated beings on a single planet, but as part of a greater interconnected web of life that stretches across the stars. This could foster a sense of cosmic unity, reminding us that we are part of something far larger than ourselves. For others, the discovery of extraterrestrial life might lead to feelings of insecurity or even existential dread. If we are no longer unique, if life is widespread across the cosmos, what does that say about our significance? Are we merely one fleeting species in an infinite universe, destined to be forgotten? These questions would force us to reevaluate our understanding of human purpose and the meaning of our existence. In either case, the psychological impact would be profound. The discovery of extraterrestrial life would force humanity to confront its deepest assumptions about itself, its place in the universe, and the significance of life in a vast, mysterious cosmos. Conclusion: humanity's evolving identity in the cosmos. The discovery of extraterrestrial life would be a transformative event, not just for science, but for humanity as a whole. It would force us to rethink our identity, our place in the universe, and our relationship with other forms of life. It would challenge our assumptions about human exceptionalism, our religious beliefs, and our ethical frameworks, and it would push us to develop new ways of thinking about life, intelligence, and our role in the cosmic network. As we look to the future, we must ask ourselves, are we ready to embrace this new reality? Are we prepared to share the universe with other life forms and accept our place as one species among many? The discovery of extraterrestrial life would not just change the course of science, it would change the course of humanity's future. If humanity were to discover extraterrestrial life, whether microbial or intelligent, it would mark a monumental turning point in human history. Yet, one of the most profound challenges that would accompany such a discovery is the question of how we would communicate with these beings. Interspecies communication is already a difficult task on Earth, even with our closest animal relatives, let alone with entirely alien civilizations that may have evolved under radically different conditions, environments, and biological processes. The challenge of communication goes beyond simply deciphering a new language or set of signals. It involves bridging the vast divide between fundamentally different forms of life, each shaped by unique environmental pressures, cognitive processes, and sensory experiences. Would extraterrestrial life forms think in the same way we do? Would they even recognize the concept of language or communication in the way humans understand it? And if their form of intelligence differs from ours, how could we find common ground to begin meaningful dialogue? In this chapter, we will explore the scientific and technological challenges of communicating with extraterrestrial civilizations, the methods we could use to establish contact, and the potential implications such a discovery could have for humanity. The question of communication is not just about how we would understand extraterrestrial beings, but how we might open up a dialogue that reshapes our understanding of life, intelligence, and existence itself. The challenges of interspecies. Communication. Communication is often seen as one of the defining characteristics of intelligence. On Earth, we've seen a broad spectrum of communication methods across different species. From the sophisticated language of humans to the complex vocalizations of dolphins, the intricate dances of bees, and the subtle signals used by octopuses, the forms of communication are vast and varied. But what if the beings we encounter from other worlds have developed entirely different ways of transmitting and receiving information? Could we even recognize their attempts at communication? And how would we respond if they were trying to reach out to us? There are several profound challenges to establishing communication with extraterrestrial life. One of the first and most obvious barriers is the language problem. Language is a tool humans have developed over millennia, shaped by our need to convey complex ideas, emotions, and intentions. It is deeply rooted in our cognitive abilities and perception of the world. However, an alien civilization might use a language or communication system entirely foreign to us, based on sensory modes or cognitive frameworks that we cannot even imagine. Would extraterrestrial beings communicate through sound as we do? Or might they use something entirely different, such as light signals, electromagnetic pulses, or even chemical exchanges? How could we even recognize their attempts at communication if we do not have the same sensory modalities as they do? These challenges raise a fundamental question. Can we truly understand each other if we do not share the same perception of the universe? Further complicating the matter is the possibility that alien intelligences might not even use language in a way we understand. Perhaps they communicate through abstract concepts or mathematical equations. Or maybe their communication is based on visual signals, body language, or other nonverbal methods we have not yet conceived. Their understanding of concepts like time, space, and even meaning could be completely alien to us. Cognitive dissonance may prevent us from interpreting signals correctly, or we might misunderstand their intent entirely. SETI, searching for signals from beyond. In 1960, the scientist Frank Drake initiated the first serious attempt to listen for extraterrestrial signals with his Project Ozma at the Green Bank Observatory. This marked the beginning of the SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence program, which has since expanded to include a global network of telescopes and space-based observatories aimed at detecting signals from intelligent extraterrestrial civilizations. The primary method of SETI has been to listen for radio signals that might be sent by alien civilizations. The assumption behind this search is that extraterrestrial civilizations like our own would use radio waves to communicate across space. This method of communication is based on the assumption that civilizations will use technology similar to our own. However, as we learn more about the diversity of possible life forms and communication methods in the universe, it becomes clear that we may need to think beyond traditional radio signals. SETI researchers use highly sensitive radio telescopes to scan the sky for narrow bandwidth radio signals, signals that would be unlikely to occur naturally in the universe and could indicate deliberate transmission by an intelligent civilization. However, despite decades of searching, SETI has yet to detect any clear, unequivocal signals from extraterrestrial civilizations. One challenge with this approach is the vastness of space. The distances between stars and galaxies are so immense that even if a signal were transmitted by an advanced civilization, it would take years, if not millennia, to reach us. Additionally, the possibility that extraterrestrial civilizations might use completely different methods of communication, such as light, quantum signals, or even biological means, raises the question of whether we are even searching in the right way. Potential methods of communication. Bridging the gap. If we are to establish contact with extraterrestrial life, we must consider alternative methods of communication. Rather than relying solely on radio waves, laser signals, light pulses, and even neutrino communication could be potential avenues for reaching out across vast distances. One promising area of study is the use of laser communication, a method that uses light to transmit information across space. Laser signals are highly directed and can travel vast distances without dissipating, making them ideal for interstellar communication. In fact, scientists are already experimenting with laser-based communication systems for use in space probes and deep space missions, as they can transmit large amounts of data much more efficiently than traditional radio signals. Another possibility is quantum communication. Quantum entanglement, the phenomenon in which two particles become linked in such a way that the state of one particle directly influences the state of the other, has the potential to allow instantaneous communication across vast distances. While quantum communication is still in the early stages of development, it may one day provide a method for sending messages across interstellar space without the time delays associated with radio signals or lasers. However, these methods are still theoretical and require significant advancements in technology before they can be used for interspecies communication. If we are to successfully communicate with extraterrestrial civilizations, we will need to develop entirely new methods and technologies. ones that are capable of overcoming the vast distances, the unknown communication modalities, and the potential cognitive and perceptual barriers that exist between species. Mathematics, a universal language. Given the potential differences in how extraterrestrial life might perceive the universe, one promising avenue for communication is mathematics. Mathematics, unlike human language, is a universal tool that transcends cultural and biological differences. The idea that mathematics could serve as a common language between humans and extraterrestrial civilizations has been proposed as a starting point for communication. The famous physicist Carl Sagan, in his work with the Pioneer Plaque and the Voyager Golden Record, included mathematical and scientific information as part of humanity's message to the stars. Sagan believed that mathematical patterns, such as the prime numbers or the universal constants of physics, would be recognizable to any civilization with a basic understanding of mathematics. In the event that we receive a message from an extraterrestrial civilization, it is likely that they would use mathematics as the foundation of their communication. Prime numbers, for instance, are a pattern that is not naturally occurring in the universe and would likely be recognized as a signal of intelligence. Whether through geometric patterns, numerical sequences, or mathematical equations, we could begin the process of deciphering their language by focusing on universal truths that are independent of biological or sensory differences. The impact of contact, a new era for humanity. The discovery and communication with extraterrestrial life would not just mark the first contact with another civilization, it would herald a new era for humanity. This contact would force us to rethink our place in the universe and consider what it means to be human. It would prompt us to confront questions that have long remained on the periphery of our philosophical and religious beliefs. What is intelligence? What is life? Are we alone in the universe? Humanity's identity, purpose, and destiny would be reshaped in the wake of such a discovery. Our worldview, our cultural narratives, and even our ethical frameworks would be tested and transformed. For many, the encounter with an extraterrestrial intelligence would challenge long-held beliefs about the uniqueness of life on Earth and the nature of existence itself. While the practical challenges of interspecies communication may seem insurmountable, the philosophical, existential, and ethical implications are equally vast. The discovery of extraterrestrial life, whether through a distant signal, a physical encounter, or an exchange of ideas, would open up an entirely new chapter in human history, one that extends beyond the confines of our planet and reshapes our understanding of life in the cosmos. Conclusion: the future of communication with the cosmos. As we continue to explore the cosmos, we must consider not only the search for extraterrestrial life but the profound challenges of how to communicate with it. The potential for establishing contact with intelligent alien civilizations, whether through radio signals, light pulses, or mathematics, is an exciting and daunting prospect. The methods we develop, the technologies we create, and the philosophical and ethical frameworks we establish will shape how humanity interacts with the cosmos in the coming centuries. The question is not just whether we will discover extraterrestrial life, but how we will respond to it. Will we be able to break down the barriers of communication and form a meaningful dialogue with other civilizations? And if we do, what kind of relationship will we form with our cosmic neighbors? The future of human civilization is intricately tied to these questions, and how we approach interspecies communication will define our place in the universe. The idea of establishing contact with extraterrestrial civilizations, whether through direct communication or physical exploration, is one of the most profound challenges humanity could face. While the possibility of interspecies cooperation is an exciting prospect, opening the door to new knowledge, technological advancements, and cultural exchange, the risks of misunderstanding, conflict, and even existential threats are equally significant. The consequences of such a discovery would reverberate through every aspect of human society, forcing us to confront the unknown and adapt to a new reality where humanity is no longer the sole intelligent species in the cosmos. In this chapter, we will explore the potential outcomes of first contact, the interactions between humanity and extraterrestrial life. Could these encounters lead to peaceful cooperation where knowledge and resources are shared for the benefit of all? Or could they result in conflict, misunderstanding, or even the downfall of civilizations? How will humanity, as a species, adapt to the overwhelming implications of interspecies contact? And how will our political, cultural, and technological structures evolve to accommodate these new realities? The possibility of cooperation. A new era of interstellar diplomacy. The most hopeful and optimistic scenario for interspecies contact is peaceful cooperation, an exchange of knowledge, culture, and technology between civilizations. Such an encounter would fundamentally change our view of life in the universe, showing that intelligence and civilization are not unique to Earth, but part of a broader cosmic network. The potential benefits of cooperating with extraterrestrial civilizations could be immense, unlocking new avenues for scientific discovery, technological advancement, and even philosophical understanding. One of the most significant aspects of cooperation would be the sharing of knowledge and technology. If an extraterrestrial civilization is more technologically advanced than humanity, their knowledge could revolutionize every aspect of human life, from energy production to space travel, medicine, and environmental management. With the right mindset, interspecies cooperation could lead to advancements that solve some of humanity's most pressing challenges, such as climate change, disease, and resource scarcity. The exchange of ideas could help to reshape global cooperation and governance, leading to a more united and forward-thinking humanity. Cultural exchange would also be a crucial aspect of cooperation. Just as humans have long sought to understand other cultures on Earth, the encounter with extraterrestrial civilizations would offer humanity the opportunity to learn from beings whose perspectives, philosophies, and ways of life may be radically different from our own. This exchange could lead to new forms of art, new ways of thinking, and new understandings of consciousness and existence. A peaceful and mutually respectful relationship with an alien civilization could expand the human worldview beyond the limitations of Earth, enriching our understanding of what it means to be alive and intelligent. However, this idealized vision of cooperation rests on the assumption that extraterrestrial civilizations would be willing to engage with humanity in a peaceful and diplomatic manner. There are no guarantees in this regard. The very nature of first contact is unpredictable. And even if extraterrestrials are peaceful, there could be significant barriers to establishing meaningful cooperation. The risks of misunderstanding, communication barriers, and cultural differences. The potential for misunderstanding between humanity and an alien civilization is one of the greatest challenges of interspecies contact. The vast differences between human and extraterrestrial biology, cognition, and culture could lead to communication breakdowns and misinterpretations. Even if both sides share a desire for peace, the inability to understand each other's intentions could lead to conflict or unintended consequences. One of the primary barriers to communication is the linguistic divide. As discussed in previous chapters, extraterrestrial life could communicate in ways that are entirely alien to us, whether through sound, light, electromagnetic waves, or even completely different methods of information transfer. If we cannot establish a common language or means of communication, our attempts at contact could be perceived as threats, leading to defensive or hostile reactions. Similarly, the cognitive differences between human and alien minds could make it difficult to interpret each other's actions, emotions, or behaviors. Beyond language, cultural differences could also create significant challenges. On Earth, misunderstandings between human cultures often lead to conflict, even when both sides have similar technologies and worldviews. With extraterrestrial civilizations, these cultural differences could be even more pronounced. The ethical frameworks, societal structures, and goals of an alien civilization may be completely alien to us, making it difficult to establish common ground. What if an extraterrestrial species views life or the universe in ways that are completely at odds with human values? How would we navigate these differences, especially if the stakes are high and the consequences of conflict are catastrophic? For example, imagine that an extraterrestrial civilization holds radically different views on life and death, or the value of individual existence. What if their civilization operates on principles of collectivism or biological imperatives that we cannot easily comprehend? Would they view our species as a threat, or would they see us as insignificant and irrelevant? These questions highlight the need for careful consideration of both communication and ethical frameworks when interacting with alien species. The threat of conflict, the dark side of first contact. While the hope for peaceful cooperation is strong, the possibility of conflict cannot be ignored. History on Earth is filled with examples of encounters between different cultures or civilizations that led to violence, exploitation, and even extinction. The encounter with extraterrestrial civilizations could follow a similar path, especially if we or they perceive each other as a threat. The risks of conflict are compounded by the fact that extraterrestrial civilizations could be far more advanced than humanity. If an alien civilization possesses technology far beyond ours, we might be at a disadvantage, both technologically and militarily. In such a scenario, humanity could face existential threats, either through hostile actions or through unintended consequences of contact. What if their technology is so advanced that we cannot defend ourselves? Or their way of thinking is so different that they do not even recognize the value of our existence? Moreover, misperceptions could lead to preemptive conflict. If both civilizations misinterpret each other's actions as aggression, misunderstandings could escalate into violence. The discovery of alien life, especially intelligent life, would require new forms of diplomacy, crisis management, and international cooperation, as the stakes would be far higher than any conflict humanity has experienced on Earth. The potential for conflict would likely be a primary concern for governments, space agencies, and global leaders as they work to establish protocols for interspecies communication and engagement. Humanity's psychological response: identity, fear, and adaptation. The discovery of extraterrestrial life and the potential for contact would also have profound psychological consequences for humanity. Our collective identity as humans, our understanding of who we are and what our purpose is, has been shaped by the belief that we are unique in the universe. The discovery of alien life, especially intelligent civilizations, would force us to confront the idea that we are not as special or central as we once thought. This could lead to feelings of fear, insecurity, or existential crisis for some individuals and communities. For others, the discovery of extraterrestrial life might inspire hope and a renewed sense of purpose. It could challenge humanity to transcend its earthly divisions and focus on the bigger picture, on our place in the cosmic community. How will humanity respond to this discovery, and how will we adapt to the reality of being one species among many in the universe? The potential for interspecies, conflict, misunderstanding, and fear may lead to global efforts to create a unified, coordinated response to extraterrestrial contact. Just as humanity has formed organizations like the United Nations to handle global issues, a global space agency or cosmic diplomacy council might be necessary to navigate the complex political, cultural, and scientific challenges that arise from contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. The future of interspecies. Diplomacy, building bridges. Despite the risks, the possibility of peaceful contact and cooperation with extraterrestrial civilizations offers a hopeful vision for the future. Establishing interspecies diplomacy would require a fundamental shift in how humanity perceives itself and the cosmos. Instead of being isolated on a single planet, we would be part of a larger interconnected cosmic community, a community that spans the stars with the potential for knowledge exchange, collaboration, and shared growth. As we prepare for the possibility of interspecies contact, we must develop new diplomatic frameworks that respect the diversity of life in the universe, while also ensuring that humanity's interests and values are preserved. This will require not just scientific and technological advancements, but also cultural and philosophical openness. We will need to embrace the unknown, confront our fears, and work together to build bridges between civilizations, both human and alien. Conclusion: a new era of exploration and cooperation. The potential for interspecies contact is one of the most exciting and transformative possibilities for humanity. Whether it leads to peaceful cooperation, mutual learning, or even conflict, the discovery of extraterrestrial life will undoubtedly shape our future in profound ways. As we look to the stars, we must prepare ourselves for the challenges and opportunities of first contact, knowing that, no matter what, humanity's place in the cosmos will never be the same. As humanity ventures further into the cosmos, the prospect of first contact with extraterrestrial life looms as one of the most monumental events in our history. It is not just an event that will change the course of science or technology, but one that will reshape the very fabric of our existence, our identity, our purpose, and our future as a species. Whether we discover microbial life on a distant moon, make contact with an advanced alien civilization, or simply find evidence that life once existed elsewhere, first contact will alter our collective consciousness forever. In this final chapter, we reflect on the profound legacy that first contact will leave on humanity and explore what lies ahead as we continue our journey into the unknown. As we stand on the precipice of this new era, we must confront the questions that will define our future. How will we adapt to the reality of not being alone in the universe? What responsibilities will we carry as stewards of life in the cosmos? And what role will humanity play in the larger galactic community? The end of human isolation. A new view of the universe. For millennia, humanity has wondered whether we are alone in the universe. We have gazed at the stars, contemplated the vastness of the cosmos, and asked ourselves if other civilizations exist beyond Earth. But for all our scientific advancements, we have remained isolated, until now. The discovery of extraterrestrial life will mark the end of human isolation. No longer will we be the only known bearers of intelligence in the universe. The realization that we are part of a larger cosmic network, one that spans billions of stars, planets, and moons, will fundamentally alter how we view our place in the cosmos. We will no longer see ourselves as the sole focus of the universe, but as one species among many, sharing a space in a vast interconnected web of life. This shift in perspective will have profound implications for our worldview. We will need to rethink our role in the cosmos, not as the center of existence, but as part of a greater continuum of life. The discovery of extraterrestrial life will challenge our assumptions about what it means to be human, and force us to confront the deeper questions about the origins and purpose of life. The universe, once a cold and empty place, will come alive with the knowledge that we are not alone, that life exists beyond Earth, and that we have a place in this larger cosmic story. A new chapter in human evolution, technology, identity, and the cosmic challenge. The technological advancements required to reach the stars, colonize new worlds, and spread life across the galaxy will represent humanity's greatest achievements. Our capacity to explore and establish colonies on distant planets will mark a new chapter in human evolution, one in which space is no longer a frontier to be feared, but a place to be conquered and inhabited. The development of new propulsion systems, biotechnologies, and life support technologies will allow humanity to spread its influence across the cosmos. But these advancements will not just be about technological progress, they will require us to rethink what it means to be human. As we venture into space, we must ask ourselves, what makes us human when we are no longer confined to Earth? When we live on Mars, Europa, or another distant world, will we be the same species we are today? How will the experience of living in space alter our biology, our psychology, and our culture? The future of humanity in the cosmos will require more than just scientific expertise. It will demand a fundamental shift in our collective identity. Our species will have to adapt to new environments, new challenges, and new forms of life. As we encounter extraterrestrial life, we will be forced to evolve not just technologically, but socially and culturally. We will need to redefine what it means to be human in a universe that is far larger and more complex than we ever imagined. The responsibilities of a cosmic steward, protecting life across the stars. As we become a part of the cosmic network of life, we must also recognize the immense responsibility that comes with this role. Stewardship, our role in caring for and protecting life, will no longer be limited to Earth. As we spread life to other worlds, terraform new planets, and interact with extraterrestrial civilizations, we will carry the weight of ensuring that life flourishes in these new environments. One of the most important responsibilities humanity will face is the ethical question of introducing life to other worlds. As stewards of life, we must ensure that we do not disrupt native ecosystems or create unintended consequences by introducing Earth-based life to new planets. Planetary protection protocols, ethical guidelines, and responsible space exploration will be critical as we expand our influence across the stars. We must also consider the welfare of extraterrestrial civilizations. If we encounter advanced civilizations, we will face the difficult task of determining how to communicate, collaborate, or coexist with them. We will need to approach these encounters with respect, humility, and a willingness to learn. Just as we strive to preserve the biodiversity of Earth, we must approach interspecies diplomacy with a sense of shared responsibility and an understanding that we are not the only intelligent species in the universe. Cultural and philosophical shifts, humanity's cosmic legacy. The discovery of extraterrestrial life will not only affect our technology and biology, it will profoundly alter our culture, philosophy, and religion. The idea that we are part of a cosmic community will challenge long-held beliefs about human exceptionalism and our place in the universe. Philosophically, the discovery of extraterrestrial life will lead to a rethinking of the meaning of life and our role in the cosmos. If life exists beyond Earth, it suggests that life is not a rare accident but a universal phenomenon. This realization will inspire new ways of thinking about life's purpose, its origins, and its future. It may lead to a more inclusive and expansive understanding of what it means to be alive, an understanding that transcends Earth and connects all forms of life, regardless of their origin. Religiously, the discovery of extraterrestrial life will challenge many doctrines that place humanity at the center of creation. How will religious communities react to the idea that life exists elsewhere in the universe? Will they see extraterrestrial life as evidence of a divine plan or as a challenge to their understanding of humanity's special relationship with the divine? The impact of first contact will spark deep theological discussions and prompt new interpretations of sacred texts and beliefs. Culturally, humanity will be forced to adjust its worldview. Our identity has been shaped by the belief that Earth is our unique home, the only cradle of life in the universe. The discovery that life exists elsewhere will force us to reconsider our place in the larger cosmic order. As we expand into the cosmos, humanity will begin to see itself not as an isolated species, but as part of a grand, interconnected web of life that spans the universe. The future of humanity. Our cosmic destiny. As we embark on this new chapter of exploration, humanity's future in the cosmos is full of possibilities. The legacy of first contact will not be defined by the moment of discovery itself, but by how we respond to it and what we do with the knowledge that we are not alone in the universe. Our role as cosmic stewards, protecting life, sharing knowledge, and fostering peaceful cooperation, will define the future of life across the stars. In the coming centuries, humanity could become the guardians of life in the universe, helping to spread life to new worlds and ensuring its survival across the galaxy. Whether through biological terraforming, interspecies diplomacy, or the creation of new civilizations, we will shape the future of life beyond Earth. And in doing so, we will redefine what it means to be human, not just on Earth, but across the cosmos. The ultimate question remains, what legacy will humanity leave in the cosmos? Will we be remembered as a species that sought knowledge, fostered cooperation, and spread life across the stars? Or will we become a cautionary tale of a species that squandered its potential and disrupted the cosmic balance? As we stand on the brink of this new era, we must ask ourselves, how will we shape the future of life in the universe? The answers to these questions will define humanity's destiny, both on Earth and among the stars. Conclusion: a new era of human exploration. The discovery of extraterrestrial life is not the end of our journey. It is the beginning. As humanity steps into the vastness of the cosmos, we must embrace the responsibilities and opportunities that lie ahead. First contact will mark a new chapter in human history, one that will challenge our assumptions, reshape our identity, and redefine our place in the universe. The legacy of first contact will be shaped by our ability to adapt, cooperate, and thrive in the face of new challenges. It will be defined by the way we use our knowledge, technologies, and compassion to ensure that life continues to flourish across the stars. The journey ahead is uncertain, but it is one that holds the promise of a brighter, more expansive future for humanity. As we look to the stars, we must remember that the universe is not a cold, empty void, but a living, vibrant place filled with possibilities. The legacy of first contact will be humanity's greatest achievement, a legacy that will shape the future of life in the cosmos for millennia to come.